Outside in the warm Miami air, Winchell turned to me.
What was your name again, kid?
It's still Heller. Nathan S. Heller.
Aren't you gonna spell it?
Look, I don't want to be in your story.
Good, because you're not. You're Chicago, right?
Born and bred.
What do you make of that, in that cell back there?
You're New York. What do you make of it?
It's horseshit. I think that little bastard hit Cermak. I think he thinks he's dying from that stomach of his, and the mobsters probably promised to support his family back in Italy in return for him taking Tony out, and for his silence. What do you think?
I think you're right on the money. But if you print it, nobody will believe a word.
What's the guy to do? Bullshit they'll believe. Take it from me. Facts only bore 'em.
I'm Mr. Grove from Pretoria. Is everything all right? People talk, say things.
Hello?
Why didn't you tell me it was out of order? I suppose you think that's funny.
I'm not allowed out the front door.
Who says you weren't?
Them.
Who?
Them.
It was terrible out there. I could hear breathing.
We told you.
Are you worried about the man?
They hate us. That's the truth. They want to kill and torture every one of us. You can see it in their eyes.
Come now, Frederick. Do you dream about unholy things?
I really don't like what's going on here. There's something wrong, and that's a fact.
Wait. What did you dream last night? This manifestation of evil. You must be delivered from evil.
Well, greetings, imagination connoisseurs. Here's me as a young 22-year-old baller in line for the world premiere of Tim Burton's Batman. I sat in Jack Nicholson's row. Why am I posting this photo? One, to remind you what I used to look like 37 years ago. And two, because yesterday was Batman Day. Batman turned officially 85 years old today. I did not recognize it on the channel. Now you can recognize it with me. And, you know, boy, getting old sucks. Now, I'm your pharaoh of physical media, coming to you all the way from, well, the Robservatory. And you know me, you might not love me, but, you know, I'm special needs, as Major Chai Chai can tell you. And you know what, though? You don't tune in for me. You don't tune in for me. You tune in for a man all the way from the capital of Saarland, Saarbrücken, Deutschland. It is the smallest county in Germany, but certainly the mightiest, because we're bringing you Dieter Bastian all the way from Saarland, Saarbrücken, Deutschland.
Rob, you made it through those German words perfectly, and as I greetings, imagination connoisseurs, Dieter here. Here I am, Rocky like Hurricane. Welcome to the B&B Motel, but it was not my fault that we were late.
Oh, I forgot.
Old Rob. I was going to see the new Demon Slayer movie, but the movie is 2.5 hours long. We have commercials in front of it, unlike the US. I couldn't make the starting time, and my plan was to finally be not the supporting act for Max, but headliner. Have Max on first, and then I came in as a headliner. That would be a nice change, but Rob said, nah, you're staying at a supporting act. But Rob, coming to Demon Slayer, I know we're jumping immediately in. I have my fingers crossed. Is it still number one at the box office in America? My fingers crossed.
First of all, let me just say, Dietz, I love Max Allan Collins. I think he's a phenomenal talent. He's written wonderful novels. He's an incredible screenwriter or audio drama writer. I look forward to making a movie that he's written. I can't wait to have him produce it with me and sit in the edit bay. But he is C-Wing. He's C-Wing. Just want to make sure. He might be more famous and richer and have a hot wife and great child and great-grandchild, and his physical media collection is incredible, but remember, he will forever be relegated to the C wing. Maybe one day we'll elevate him from the C list up to our A list. Or, you know what B&B equals? A. That's what it equals. That's our math. I just want to be clear that this is our show. I can have Max on. I'm happy to do it. But remember, this is the two of us, buddy. We've been on this march together for a long walk.
Yeah. Two heads are better than one.
Better.
Especially
Come on, man. I had to get that. I had to get that in there.
Yeah, especially in the physical media space when we can help each other out.
Okay, first of all, let's talk about the box office. Demon Slayer Infinity Castle has become the biggest Japanese movie of all time. Of all time.
Ooh.
At the worldwide box office.
Okay, worldwide.
It has made, check it out, bro, $555 million worldwide.
Nice.
And you know what? Americans can't do that. We can't make anime. We don't have that sense of whimsy. We can try, but we can't do it.
There's a lot of whimsy in Demon Slayer. A
lot of whimsy. Americans can't do it. However, the Americans are bringing up that rear. Actually, not quite a rear. And who doesn't like to bring up the rear after all? But let me just tell you.
Germany was the last starting place for the movie.
For Demon Slayer?
Yeah.
Now, this is amazing. You did a wonderful breakdown of the Conjuring movies and how much the Conjuring movies had made at the box office.
Correct.
Conjuring Last Rites is now the number one movie in the Conjuring franchise at $400 million.
Jeez.
$400 million. And that puts New Line Cinema. Check this out. New Line Cinema. It has made over $1 billion at the box office in 2025.
Not bad for
New Line
Cinema. We have
New Line
back with Lord of the Rings movie.
New Line, rocking out Final Destination, Bloodlines, Weapons, and Conjuring. Now, I would say to you that in terms of a return on investment, Final Destination, I think probably cost $50 million.
Yeah, 50. Yeah,
50.
It was the most expensive of the franchise.
Okay, 50. Weapons was $38 million.
Yeah.
And The Conjuring Last Rites was $55 million. Yeah. So you're looking at less than $150 million that made over $1 billion at the worldwide box office. That
just the box office, Rob.
That
just
is three movies. That's three movies that go into your studio's library. That, my friends, is how studios should be doing business in 2025. Right. And by the way, that's theatrical business. Right. Now, I'm not saying not everybody can do that. Not everybody can. But people should be thinking about not just horror films, but figuring out a way to make movies at that price with that kind of a return. Studios used to know how to do it. They should do it again. But if there is a lesson to be learned, let's all look to New Line Cinema. But as Uber super producer Roy Lee would tell you, it is very difficult to find great material. And what was really interesting about both Conjuring and Final Destination is the people behind those franchises knew what they were doing. They came out firing. Even The Conjuring we hadn't seen one since 2021. And they did a great job. So that is amazing. So now let's check out and see if they have. Here we go with the American box office, because you asked the question. Did Demon Slayer take him at the box office? Well, guess what, Deets? Demon Slayer tackles him for the number one spot with 17 million plus. Big, Bold, Beautiful Journey tanked. No one liked it, unfortunately. I thought the trailers looked great. Apparently, the movie isn't so great. Here is the domestic box office. Demon Slayer Infinity Castle has made domestically. Demon Slayer's made $104 million. I think that's got to be a record for anime that was smashed I mean,
think so. I
and
can't
this is
remember
look.
an anime movie in the States.
This
that
is an
made
indication
this much.
of between K-pop Demon Hunters and which was I think made more domestically than it was foreign, but K-pop Demon Hunters and Demon Slayer. This is a shot across the bow. You know, everyone's always worried about, well, how can we get younger audiences more involved in movies? Well, how about giving them movies that are theirs? These are franchises that were begun with today's audiences, today's younger people, and they belong to them. And I'm sure the studios are all scrambling, going, well, what can we do? Well, the only thing you can do is to distribute Japanese animated films domestically in this country. And while everybody's going to scramble around trying to figure out, well, which ones should we acquire? Not all of them, as you can see. Very few have this kind of penetration. So it's not going to be an easy road to travel. But you go, Sony. Sony is at the forefront of this, which makes sense because they're Sony. So there you go. Him only made $13.5 million. The Conjuring Last Rites pulled in another $12 million for a domestic total of $151.1 million. Again, I just want to point out, Warner Brothers, $1 billion with New Line. They are killing it with the horror. Low budget horror. And you know who wins? Everybody. Pam Abdi and Mike DeLuca. I just hope that Warner Brothers gets to stay its own entity for a number of reasons. And that I want Skydance and Larry Ellison and David Ellison to concentrate on making Paramount the top of the mountain in Hollywood once again before they go buy another studio and wreck it. Let's concentrate on one. Let's not even concentrate on Paramount. Let's concentrate on one franchise at Paramount. Star Trek. You know what? Why don't we spend the rest of the Trump administration making Star Trek great again? And I'll say it. I am tired of the horribly written Star Trek that we've been getting since 2009. Here's a franchise that can be rehabilitated by people who've actually read science fiction. Bring it back. Allegorical action-adventure science fiction that has a meaning and a message behind it. No more of this bullshit fantasy. No more fantasy. Take away the fantasy. Take away your Buffys. No more fucking puppets. No more musical episodes. No more bullshit. No more Spock jumping into bed with girl to girl to girl. Don't desecrate his character any more than he already has been. I mean, the only thing that's been more desecrated in the last 5 years than the American Constitution is Mr. fucking Spock. Get back. Make the Constitution great again. Because after all, what is Star Trek? Star Trek is about America and space. It's about bringing constitutional, American, constitutional, and Bill of Rights, that feeling, that meaning to space. That's all I'm saying. It's the end of my rant. I'll stick it in there. The Long Walk. The Long Walk added another $6.3 million, down only 46%, and it's up to $22.7 million. And if you watch my snippet of my recent interview with Uber producer Roy Lee, one of my great heroes in the business, it only cost $20 million to make. Now, this is only a domestic total of $22.7 million. What's really interesting is watching this hold. Actually, hopefully, it'll hold on. But I think it deserves a bigger audience. Downton Abbey, the grand finale, is up to $31.5 million. Big, Bold, Beautiful Journey tanked. Sorry, Sony. But you can offset that with what you made with K-pop Demon Hunters at your sing-along and your Demon Slayer. Big, Bold, Beautiful Journey with 2 big stars only made $3.5 million. The Senior from Angel Studios made $2.7 million. A Toy Story re-release made $1.4 million, taking its box office grosses to $229.1 million for its lifetime. Howl's Moving Castle, Fathom put it out for like a couple of days, $1.4 million. Sight and Sound presents Noah Live, another Fathom event at $1.5 million. And Weapons at number 11 made another $1.26 million for a domestic total of $149.7 million. I'm sure it will cross $150 million.
Nice.
So there you go.
Rob, let me help you out a little bit when you go to the John Campea show tomorrow for his classroom to get you a little bit of a reason why the new Demon Slayer movie has made this much money. Because the situation has changed, and I wasn't even aware of that last week. before I heard the first reviews about it. Because we already had Demon Slayer movies, but they were only episodes strung together and made a movie. They were literally cash grabs. Put some episodes together, get the people a little bit of appetizer or a truncated version of the new season, but that was about it. But the situation has changed. We have 5 seasons of Demon Slayers, but the seasons are over. What we are getting now are 3 movies. And Infinity Castle is the first movie of that trilogy. So it was mandatory, Rob, mandatory for Demon Slayer fans to see this movie. You can't wait for the season like with the other movies, because if you have seen all the seasons, you don't need to see any of these previous movies, because the season entails everything. But there are no more seasons of Demon Slayer. There are 5 seasons, it's done. What we are getting now are 3 movies. So what we have here with Demon Slayer, Rob, is mostly an Infinity War Endgame situation. We'll now get 3 movies. And of course, this movie is only for fans who are already liking Demon Slayer and know the seasons. Because this will not get you a big recap of what's happened in 5 seasons. It goes on from the ending of the 5th season, of course. And it doesn't have an ending, you know. We will getting an ending with 2 other movies, because the Infinity Castle was teased over the seasons here and there, but now we are really in the deep end with the demons, and we will get 2 more movies. So that was the reason, Rob, why this movie succeeded that much. It is we are in the final stages of Demon Slayer. We will get 3 movies. We will not get any seasons anymore. So, and I heard on a YouTube reviewer, wait, what? This will not be another season. We were getting 3 movies now. And then it became even for me, mandatory, of course, to go to the theater and watch it. Totally had a good time with it. It is what Demon Slayer is. Like you said, a lot of whimsical comes with it, and a lot of flashbacks with the characters. So every Demon Slayer fan should be happy with the movie. There's great fights, great action, but it's 2.5 hours long, and it comes with a lot of flashbacks and whimsical. But we will get 2 more movies, Rob. There will no more be seasons.
So no, we will not have joy. We will not have fun. We will have no more seasons in the sun with K-pop. Oh no, Demon Slayer. We just are going to have movies. Hey, I'm all for that. You know, why not?
So that's the reason, Rob, why this movie succeeded that much. Because it became mandatory, you know? You couldn't say, oh, I see the movie, I will wait for the season, because the seasons were even then mostly often longer than the movie actually was, you know? So, but now the movies are mandatory, Rob. We will get 3 movies. We're in the final stages of Demon Slayer.
And are you a fan of the franchise overall?
Yeah, I like it, but like I said, Rob, you have to. There were points where I thought the whimsical gets too much. I think I need to stop it. But then it always came around and then delivered almost in the last episodes of every season. It was great. It was awesome. Totally up then again. And you were on board again. So I always were on the cusp of, I think it's not for me. And I always came around on it. But I had a good time with it, and I totally can understand why everyone was flocking to the first weekend, and now we have, of course, a big drop for the second weekend. But it's great to see that it's at least still number 1 in the States. And I wanted to ask you, Rob, have you seen him? You are planning to see the movie because it's very controversial?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I was reading about it. I'll probably catch up with it later. I was really actually looking forward to it. I was looking forward to it a little bit. I thought it would be better. It looked like it would be better than it was, but everyone's saying it didn't really have a handle on the themes that it was dealing with. I was hoping it would be something a little different.
Okay.
But I'll catch up with it. I'm curious to see it. I hear that visually it's quite striking. So.
Yeah. And Demon Slayer had a great score, Rob. There were everything that you can possibly want from a score. Rockin' sounds, more pop-like, more orchestral. The score was great. A great addition to the movie.
Okay, you listen, I wanted to start this show. I changed the title of this show because I was made aware there's a controversy brewing. Controversy in the physical media space.
Okay.
Now, we have talked a lot about in our new world, it's impossible to buy studio releases. You want to get Tron and Tron Legacy on, you want to get the Blu-ray, you want to get the 4K Steelbooks. Normally, I would just order them from Amazon or wherever and get them. I ordered them the first day they were available from Amazon. Then the day that they're supposed to be delivered, they tell me that, oh, you might get them in October sometime. Then, of course, I was asked to pay because I'd switched over. I forgot I've got like 4 ways to pay on Amazon, and I'd put an old card down. I mean, when it defaulted to an old card, then it asked me to pay like today. So that means I guess they're going to ship it in the next 2 days. So they can't decide whether I'm going to get it now or in October. But it doesn't matter. It's a Disney release. So it's more difficult now. We've got the Nightmare on Elm Street Steelbooks coming out. Apparently, but the hardest title to get is the 1990 Night of the Living Dead remake that has a new version of it that director Tom Savini produced.
Yeah, Rob, it got, the release date got pushed here too.
Yeah, where is it? And the problem is, ultimately, it's a manufacturing issue. There's only one plant that makes discs, and the plant is in Mexico, and they're just overburdened. I mean, physical media is doing well; things are selling, but it's ridiculous. I was lucky to get that Amazon box set, the Amazon exclusive Superman box set with the fixed Superman, that steelbook, and so it's wild that boutique labels are much more reliable now, especially if you order from them directly. And look, when I order from boutique labels, whether it's, Second Sight, despite the fact that I did get a bean grower instead of my discs once, for the most part, although I will say that they are outsourcing to a company called Lime something, and they do individually wrap their discs in bubble wrap, but still, the boxes are coming in not... My favorite, I have to say, Vinegar Syndrome might be at the top of the list in terms of how they pack their material. Vinegar Syndrome has their own cool packing tape. Everything comes individually wrapped. Great stuff from Vinegar Syndrome. But, which brings me to the big controversy. So, despite the fact that major studios can't get their fucking act together and get us physical media. By the way, the other company that does a really good job is Lionsgate Limited. The Lionsgate Limited, they do a great job packing up their stuff. It comes very quickly. You go, Lisa Stevenson. Not only are you a beautiful woman and a great executive, but Lionsgate Limited delivers the goods. So you go, Lisa Stevenson. If your high school sweetheart hadn't married you, I would have pursued you to the ends of the earth. And not just because you get me free discs. I just want you to know it's not just because of that. But anyway, here's the controversy. We know that there are many different labels that are now releasing multiple releases. For those of you who went down under and got your Keep box set, like Kelvin Wellborn did, that Keep box set comes with a chunky cross that'll keep all the evil away. And apparently it'll work on Star Trek now because there's the first evil demons. All you have to put up is your cross, and you on Star Trek can defeat evil now too. But anyway, so you've got the box sets. Vinegar Syndrome had their first box set. And now you can go down under and get one. The big Coke Dune box has now been supplanted, although it doesn't have the Spice Diver edition from down under. So now we have to decide as collectors, whose versions do we want to buy? Who do you want to buy from? Now, I'll tell you right up front. Second Sight is my favorite boutique label. Now, just because, and if for no other reason, for their Dawn of the Dead box set, which is my favorite piece of physical media in the movie space of the disc era, all the way back to Laserdiscs. That Second Sight limited edition box set is the fucking bomb. I'm going to have it buried in my coffin. No one else can ever have mine except me, because no one will love it more than me. So I've loved Second Sight. I think the first thing I bought from Second Sight was more than 10 years ago. I bought their Diva. Or not, pardon me, I say Diva all the time. I bought Betty Blue because they had both the theatrical and the longer version. So I've been buying them for over 10 years. Well, Second Sight announced that they are releasing, and of course everyone knows if Second Sight were a woman, Second Sight would be Farrah Fawcett Majors from Logan's Run. But anyway, so Second Sight is releasing beautiful box sets of Maxine and Pearl. Now, Dieter, Maxine and Pearl, when you see these beautiful box sets, what do you notice by me showing you these beautiful Second Sight box sets of Pearl and Maxine? Do you notice anything? Pearl and Maxine. Now, what are these two movies? Yeah, but what do these two movies represent? What is missing from these? Okay. Yes. And you get a gold star for the day. So I love Second Sight. Love Second Sight. Second Sight only apparently has the rights to do 2 of the 3 movies. A24, however, those sneaky bastards at A24 are releasing a special edition box set of all 3 movies. Yes, they are. So these are X, Pearl, and Maxine. So, Dieter, what do you do? First of all, I just want to say, here is their box. Here is A24's box. And now look at what Second Sight's doing. Okay? Look at that Maxine artwork. Compared to this. I don't know. I'm just saying. So what do? We as physical media collectors, if you're a Ty West fan, you want the trilogy.
Yeah,
and by the way, you know what it's part of what I'll show today, but speaking about how Second Sight deals with the trilogy, I will show you today. Later.
Perhaps me too, Rob. Perhaps we have the same to show.
Oh, I'm sure we do. We can both talk about it. So we can obviously rights issues, and X was Pearl was the second movie, right? Was it first?
Right.
It was yeah.
Right.
So
X
so
was first,
so X the rights could have been a different situation, financing was a different thing. So it's possible that they weren't able to do that. So what do? And I know the answer for us is you buy both.
And
If you're fans of the movie.
Considering those movies, I have to say none. Because I already own those movies.
I know.
In 4K editions, as media books, as German media books. I'm good with the Thai
Okay,
West
don't
trilogy. As beautiful as the box sets are,
Okay.
Rob, I'm not buying any of those
Okay, you
movies.
goddamn German, you Jerry. So you got your German media books, okay. Let's assume for the time being you didn't. And you're facing the same dilemma we poor Americans face, and Brits. What would you do?
That's tough, Rob. But considering the good thing about the trilogy is, even if they are tied together, they work pretty much as their own entity. So I would say I would go for the 2 Second Sight.
Okay. And that's
then
the right
get
answer.
X separate.
That's you can stay on the show.
And get X separately, Lucky me then.
So, but you know what? It's almost 12 o'clock, and I know we started. We started late, but the C wing is open. I got your Max Allen Collins right here. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, gentle beings, kind souls, however you identify across the 28 known galaxies, Mr. Max Allen Collins.
How are you, gentlemen?
We're good. I noticed there's shenanigans in the C-Wing happening. I don't know what you're doing over there.
Well, we're expanding. we're putting on a gigantic extra. It's how can I put this? It's sexational. Okay, that's all I'll say.
Wow.
Sexational.
I don't even know what to say about something being sexational.
There are mirrors involved. There are toys involved, and there are escorts involved. And I really can't be much more frank than that. But when he gets my check next month, Dieter will have a big grin on his face. He'll be able to buy both sets, both those sets.
Wow, I suddenly this is no longer a family show. I don't even know what to say. Unless the toys you were talking about were, 6-scale action figures.
Yeah, yes, yeah. Well, they're a little big.
Or action figures of some kind. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Before we get started, I wanted to say, apropos to what Dieter was talking about with the anime, one thing that's interesting about that is it's R-rated.
Yeah.
And that's so in addition to the box office they've got, that's an R-rated movie. So when I asked my son, are you going to take my grandson to that? Because the anime crazy. And oh no. And so can't do it. And I don't think
I didn't realize that. I didn't realize that. That's interesting because, well, The Joker, I think, is the biggest grossing R-rated film of all time, I think. But
that is interesting because you would think with anime they'd say, well, a lot of our market is, under the age of admission, but it wasn't. In fact, I learned about it because we were there to see something. My wife and I were at the movies to see something else. There was a big crowd in front of us, and when I got to the box office, I says, "Which movie are they going to?" And it was Demon Slayer.
When I was
all young people, not super young, but I mean older teenagers and people in their 20s.
When I was in Vegas last week, I got there early, and I went and had lunch. And the outside the theater, I was at the theater complex where the theater was. It was kind of upstairs, and where I was sitting was at the window and watching people go to and fro, and I couldn't believe how many people were dressed up in Demon Slayer paraphernalia and cosplay, and it was pretty impressive. And clearly, I mean, and we've been saying, I think what's really interesting about this is obviously manga and anime have been growing in popularity for a long time. And I think it's because of the uniqueness of it. The fact that the sensibility is different. The fact that One Piece, they kept the actual creator of One Piece to oversee the live action Netflix series, and it became a big hit. Because it's that new sensibility. That sensibility that I would say is much more authentic than a lot of the entertainment that we're getting now, especially for younger people. And they can embrace something like Demon Slayer as something new they can't get here. So I think I find it very heartening that, and I think that there's a message being relayed of how people are thirsting for something unique, not rehashing old IP. And so that's what I love to see about this.
Also, and this isn't in any way at odds with what you're saying, but it's theirs.
Yep.
Not a lot of. Yeah, I mean, when I was very young and went to, Hard Day's Night, there weren't a lot of people over 25, and that was a huge movie of its day.
Yeah.
Because there'd been a seismic shift that everybody above the wrong end of that didn't even know what's this,
Yeah.
Long hair, they didn't get it. They didn't get it.
No.
So I think this is an interesting and maybe an encouraging sign.
Yeah. Since you're here, let me just I'm gonna crack through some super chats and please feel free to weigh in. It Fanatic became a new member of the channel. Raymond Levertu became a member of the channel, became an imagination connoisseur. Brian Erdy is now a PGS VIP, and Jerry Mannanen is now a member of the channel, but you guys have been members of the channel. Garrett Groover says, let's say that Netflix does buy Warner Brothers. What happens to their home media division? What happens to Warner Archive? What is the worst case scenario? I think you just described it. I mean, if Netflix buying Warner Brothers, I think is a total disaster, because they're not interested in theatrical releasing movies theatrically is a 20th century phenomenon, according to Netflix. They were born of the home video era in that they sold you discs, or they rented discs to you. Then they became a streamer. Every time they want to delve into theatrical releasing, they don't do it full bore. They do it kind of half-assed. And they're doing half-assed releases of Wake Up Dead Man and Catherine Bigelow's new movie, House of Dynamite. And they're not going all in. They have no interest in theatrical. And I'm sure they would love to get Warner Brothers. They want to get Warner Brothers catalog. But they have no interest in keeping their video division alive, their home video division alive. That'll all go away. And the thing that it's not just that George Feltenstein and the people at Warner Archive are doing such a wonderful job with their physical media releases, but they are restoring MGM classic Technicolor musicals. They are going back and restoring films from masters like Fritz Lang, and they're going back and doing the best versions of these movies that are going to live on for posterity. And the thing is, Netflix is driven by their analytics. Do you think Netflix has a real interest in going back and restoring movies from the 30s, the 40s, the 50s? They don't care, because they throw those up on Netflix and they basically have no value to Netflix, because who goes back that far and watches them? And that's the problem with streaming, is that the cinematic legacy of the world will not be preserved, because audiences only want to go back so far. And then the question is in the boardrooms is like, well, then do these movies have any value at all if no one's going to watch them on streaming? And that's the danger, because people will get rid of, they think that, oh, well, there's necessarily not some immediate monetary value. So what good is it? And this is the kind of, I love capitalism, but this is capitalist thinking at its most wrong-headed. And that's what if you're letting art be driven by analytics, you're going to destroy civilization, I think.
So I may have missed this. Is there a Warner Brothers Netflix thing in the...
No, they haven't made in the wake of Paramount and Skydance announcing they're making an all-cash bid for Warner Brothers, they expect, and I've been told also, Roy Lee was saying that he expected Netflix and Comcast to jump in with their own bids. And I think that, look...
The rumor mill is expanding.
I'm like, slow your roll, Paramount. Why don't you concentrate on your own studio? And let's make Star Trek great again. How about that? Don't buy another studio. So,
couldn't agree more.
I mean, Warner Brothers is cooking with gas right now. Let them do what they do, But then again, it's all about mergers and acquisitions, and it's not really about art. It's about money, and it's always going to be money. But at the end of the day, what civilization are we going to be left with? Is it going to be like Alien Earth, where there's 5 corporations that run anything? And as you can see, these 5 corporations aren't exactly modicums. They're not really that well run. If Prodigy and Wayland Yutani are what we have to look forward to in the future, I'm like, oh, we're fucked. But that's whatever. But anyway, Thanks for that question, Garrick. And then Garrick Groover goes on to say another thing. Do you think Secret Wars will lead to the MCU being entirely rebooted? That's how you bring in the X-Men and Blade without having to explain where mutants and vampires have been the whole time. I do. I think that's exactly what they're doing, and I think that's a smart way to go, because then you get to start all over from the beginning and rebuild your universe. Cult Cinema 83 says, I want to applaud you and John for addressing the Tatiana, Disney, and Trump political thing. This is very worrying. This is a very worrying development, and it was needed, so kudos. Okay, Tatiana? Is that do we know? I'm not sure.
The cancellation tweet.
About Disney Plus. Okay, yes.
On the John Gambia show. They discussed it.
Yeah, okay, got that. Yeah. That we're talking about Jimmy Kimmel. Walter Whitewalker says we should all be kicking it with Dietz right now with plates of Jaeger, Schnitzel, hoisting steins of Marzen for Oktoberfest, Rob. Grab your accordion. Well, I do happen to have an Elysian Night Owl pumpkin beer. Although it's, I think it's only like 6.5%. You know me, I like to drink my 11% dragon milk beer. This is just piss water. But anyway. Thomas
But
Logan.
that's a nice design, the can.
Thomas Logan says, Deadpool and Wolverine is the highest rated R-rated film, also the 7th highest grossing comic book movie of all time, and the 20th grossing film of all time. Well, that's good to know. I forgot about that. It's funny because I don't normally think of comic book movies as being R-rated except Joker.
Yeah.
So that's good to know. Thanks for that one, Thomas. And Stubble McShave says, you mentioned a couple of books yesterday on the members stream. Was it Rewrite and Repay? Which were the authors? Which should I read first? Oh, no, Replay by Ken Grimwood. Replay, don't read anything about Replay. Replay is an older book. I think it was late 80s, but it was Replay by Ken Grimwood, and Rewrite is by Gregory Benford, and that came out in 2018. The book that I just finished. So yeah, that is the book that I was talking about. So we are caught up, gentlemen. So why don't we talk some physical media?
Why don't we?
We haven't even shown what we bought or what we got or anything.
You want me to start with my True Noir presentation?
Yes. Why don't you do that?
Because this is a box that Dieter bought before I did, I guess.
Yeah.
He mentioned it on
But
the
I've
air.
only seen two of the books.
Well, you got to work your way through. It's quite an interesting box. One of the things that kind of brought home to me was that the whole blaxploitation era. Now there are outliers, but it's basically 1970 to 1975, and then it pretty much is over. And there are two movies that sparked it. One of them is in this box set, and that's Cotton Comes to Harlem. It was really the first of the movies that you could call blaxploitation, although they had no idea that's what they were doing. And the other one, which is not here, but is a big favorite of mine, is Shaft. Am I still here?
You're still there, right? Come on, Shaft. I mean, shut your mouth.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I love those are the two movies, Cotton Comes to Harlem and Shaft. Everything else flows from those. And they do have a very strong, because I'm supposed to be, to some degree, talking about noir here. And they have a very, you could call these noir adjacent, or just a different, color of noir. Because Cotton Comes to Harlem, Cotton Comes to Harlem is based on a Chester Himes novel. Now, Chester Himes is arguably a mystery writer, a crime writer, who can keep company with Hammett, Chandler, and Spillane. He's huge. He's incredibly good. One of my favorite writers. And that whole experience started then. I went to with my wife and I in 1970. I think it was May 27th. We went to we had honeymooned in Chicago a year or so before. Now we're back again, and we went to the Woods Theater in downtown Chicago, which was the first place that Cotton Comes to Harlem played. And I was there because it's a Chester Himes movie, right? So we come in a little early. I get my popcorn. We bought a hot dog, and I'm sitting down. The theater completely filled up by the time the movie started, and was a one of those big downtown theaters. We were the only two white people in the audience, and I don't know what to say, but I kind of looked around. And I said, "This may just be a Chicago thing, but I think something's happening. Something's been sparked here." And the movie was and is it's a great movie. It's really, really a good movie. Ossie Davis, a black filmmaker who was also a director and a Broadway star and a movie star and a TV star. He directed it, and he brought just the right touch to it, because Himes is all about the absurdity of life and the absurdity of Harlem street life. And it's got two great performances by Godfrey Cambridge and Raymond St. Jacques as the classic noir detectives, Coffin Ed Johnson and Gravedigger Jones. Great characters. Now, something that I'm a little proud of. I seem to be the first person that realized this, or at least wrote about it. But, Himes, Chester Himes, was a Cleveland, Ohio guy. He actually served, he went in for an armed robbery conviction. He was supposed to serve, I think, 25 years, and he got out in 8 on parole. But he started writing in prison. He started publishing for Esquire magazine. Rob, that was a big deal at the time.
That's amazing. While he was in prison.
While he was in prison, and but I once had a young black teacher who asked the class, "Who are your favorite black authors?" And it was, of course, a completely white class. And so everybody is saying what they're supposed to say, and I say, "Well, Chester Himes and Willard Motley." And Willard Motley wrote "Knock on Any Door," and he just looked at me and he said, "Well, that was a jive thing, because Harlem isn't anything like that." Well, he was actually right, because Himes based it on the Cleveland scene. That was all about an area of Cleveland called the Bucket of Blood. And all those characters, including some real cops who were the models for Coffin Ed and Gravedigger.
Wow.
And I put them in a book of mine called, I put Himes himself in a book of mine called Murder by the Numbers, which was one of my Eliot Ness novels. And they were contemporaries of Ness when Ness was in, he was a contemporary of Ness. I say, though, because there are some, you can find out who these detectives were he based them on, because they were real guys. Anyway, so there's an authenticity to Himes that Ossie Davis picks up on. He was a co-writer, and really it's a pretty darn good cast. Calvin Lockhart's in it with a great part. And another interesting thing about Himes, they go too into the weeds here, but Himes was not happy with life in America. It's hard to imagine anybody could be unhappy with life in America, but he moved to France. And most of his great novels, most of his great crime novels, were published in France by a company called Gallimard. Now, Gallimard had a line called Série Noire. Now, that line of crime novels, mostly of Americans in translation, is really where the word noir gets into the to the vocabulary, the universal vocabulary. And while Himes was living in Europe, most of those great crime novels were published in translation first. They weren't published in America till after they become successes in France. So anyway, I know I'm a bit in the weeds there, but I think he's a very important writer, and this is a very important movie. It's very entertaining. It's very funny and great action. Do you hold it in high regard, Rob?
The movie?
Yeah.
Dude, I have not seen that movie. I saw that movie a million years ago, and that's why I want to get these blaxploitation box sets, because it's hard to see these films now. And so they've restored them. And I was I found myself, I was a big blaxploitation fan when I first got into home video, and they were really hard movies to get.
It could be.
Trying to find Dolomite, and trying to find, because that's what I wanted to find when I was a kid, because a lot of it was based on the music.
Sure.
That was, you could see Shaft because it was a Warner Brothers release, and there were things like, but you couldn't, getting Dolomite and getting Black Caesar, which was Larry Cohen's first, which is all part of this. But getting these movies were really hard. But yeah, no, I'm a fan, and I really want to get. That's why I haven't got either one of these box sets yet.
Well, Dieter, have you watched Cotton Comes to Harlem yet?
Unfortunately, not, Max. I've only seen the first two Pam Grier movies that are in the box set.
I did
Cotton
see
Comes to Harlem will be the next one.
I did see Cotton Comes to Harlem actually in a theater, and I saw it at our it was called the Neptune Theater. I think it's still called the Neptune, but it used to be like a landmark theater that would show revivals. That's where I saw everything that was hard to see at the Neptune.
Well, there was the second Coffin Ed and Gravedigger movie with the same cast with Godfrey Cambridge and Raymond St. Jacques, called Come Back Charleston Blue.
Right.
And it's not anywhere.
No.
And I'm hoping if there is a third box, it needs to be in there. And there's another movie about them, although they were relegated to kind of secondary characters. Do you remember the movie Rage in Harlem?
Of course.
Well, that's also a Coffin Ed and Gravedigger novel. Again, they made them a little bit minor characters. I think that remember the comedian George Wallace? He played one of them, and so they got that amount of humor. And when you meet Gravedigger and Coffin Ed, there's this like kind of almost like mob scene going on, and they're standing in the middle of it, tall, straight, hats, beautiful suits, and they're just above everything. And they were Superman. They were really Superman. I love that movie, but historically it's really important because the next movie a year later is Shaft, and then all bets are off. All of this stuff happened, and I really feel like there's only people can disagree with me, obviously, but I think that the rest of the blaxploitation, as entertaining as it is, I don't think any of them lived up to the promise of those first two movies. Even Shaft. Well, I think Shaft in Africa is a very good movie. I like all three Shaft movies. I'm a Richard Roundtree. Just he was phenomenal. But now some of the movies, other movies in the set. Let's go to the Pam Grier ones. That's okay. I got to make sure I don't get confused because one of them was in the previous box set. Yeah. But the Foxy Brown is a really good one, and it's that's a Jack Hill movie. The great director who should have made a lot more movies than he made, and it's a revenge story in the wait for it, Rob, the Mickey Spillane tradition, and it has an amazing thing with Peter Brown, who the actor Peter Brown, who had played on the TV show Lawman. It had been this deputy and was a big hero. He's the villain in this movie, and the ending is right out of Spillane because let's just say revenge has to do with someone family jewels. It's a very C-wing kind of ending. But almost all of these movies, really do well with. I don't remember in each case what they are, but they usually have either a score by somebody like Isaac Hayes, that level of black musician, or they at least get somebody to do the opening credits song. And Foxy Brown has it's almost a Maurice Binder opening, with her, and it's just it's delightful. Now the other ones, and the other good one is in the other box, and that's arguably the other really important movie that got exploitation going, and that's Coffee, which was all so that's a terrific movie too. The Friday Foster movie and Sheba Baby show them trying to, I think, misguidedly, let's really make Pam Grier a movie star and not think about the kind of action that was involved and the kind of, frankly, nudity and sex that was involved in those other two movies. So you have really a kind of I don't know how you feel, Dieter, but I think the other movie what is that? Sheba Baby.
Yeah.
Now that's a private eye
Yeah.
movie, so that puts it in at least noir adjacent. But I don't think it's very good. In fact, I think it's one of those movies that seems to be they're kind of making it up as they go along. Do you kind of agree with me on that? I mean, it's so.
But I still have, at least with Friday Forster, I certainly had my fun. Help me out, Max. Sometimes I'm perhaps mushing them together.
Yeah.
It was where she played a reporter. Friday.
Yeah, and what's really interesting to me about Friday Foster is it was a comic strip distributed by the Chicago Tribune Syndicate, who I worked with for 15 years with Dick Tracy, and it had got a lot of publicity that it was one of the first major comic strip to have a black lead character, and she was out of the fashion photography world and then began to and it's just the wrong subject matter to follow up Foxy Brown. There's some good action scenes. It certainly makes more sense than Sheba Baby, but I don't want to see. I'm sorry, I don't want to see Pam Grier with a camera. I want to see her with a gun, or a knife. Coming back to Peter Brown and what happened to him, but I just think that they missed the boat a bit. It's pretty good. But the action is good.
Had that little twist at the end.
Yeah,
Max. When she find out that the people were not actually,
that was
for revolution.
That was very good
for change.
And there's a big, impressive action scene toward the end. Yeah. So I'm not saying it's not entertaining. I would not. I think every movie in this box set is quite entertaining, but some of them are actually good movies, which is always a plus.
It was not on the level like the other one, but still entertaining for me.
Well, it's AIP movie. You're always guaranteed a good time in an AIP movie, but you're not always guaranteed a good movie.
And they traveled pretty quickly in Friday Forster between Washington and LA.
and here's what's really odd, because they did there are a bunch of characters from the comic strip. The comic strip stopped in 1974 and the movie came out in 1975. So it may be that they thought they were on top of some really good, and that kind of backfired, because they're be like Superman, but the comic book got canceled last year. I mean, that doesn't make any sense. Now, the two Jim Brown movies, Slaughter and Slaughter's Big Ripoff. Slaughter is not a very good movie, but Jim Brown is so charismatic, and it's there's a lot of good action, and then there's the co-star is Stella Stevens.
Yeah.
Now let's just take a moment to imagine a shower scene with Stella Stevens. We should have a moment of silence for Stella Stevens, because she was phenomenal, and she's like 20 years into her career. She's done, the Peckinpah movie she did. What was that, Rob? There's a very good Peckinpah movie. I think it's her and anyway. But she goes back. She goes back to the Little Abner movie where she played Appassionata von Climax, and she's the mistress of like the big corporate guy. And Abner asks her, "Do you ever get bored?" And she says, "Extremely." It's
the Ballad of Cable Hogue.
But yeah, and that's a good movie. It is a
good movie. I totally forgot about that movie.
Now this is an odd thing, because Slaughter's Big Ripoff is actually better. Slaughter is like the kind of movie where they're looking to find the big computer that's the what's it, the Hitchcock
the MacGuffin.
The MacGuffin. And they never find it. It just kind of falls out of the last 20 minutes of the movie. And I it's pretty bad, but very entertaining. But Brown was incredibly charismatic and convincing in his action scenes. and seems to be doing everything himself. Now, Slaughter's Big Ripoff, that's directed by Gordon Douglas, who's a really interesting director. I mean, Rob, we're talking about the guy who directed Them.
Yeah, I know.
And he directed Kiss Tomorrow Goodbye, which was James Cagney's follow-up to White Heat. But he also did, the Dick Tracy movies in the 40s and the Great Gildersleeve movies. But he goes back to like the mid-30s where he's doing stuff with Laurel and Hardy.
And now he's directing blaxploitation.
But he went on to do after that. I think it was after that. He did 3 Sinatra movies.
Yeah.
Tony Rome and Lady in Cement and The Detective. It's a very interesting.
Those
career.
might have been before that.
You think this was before that?
Yeah.
Anyway, now interestingly, maybe in part because of Gordon Douglas, this is the rare situation where the second movie is better than the first one. Slaughter's Big Ripoff is
Tony Rome was 67.
Yeah. So this is after that. Yeah. Slaughter's Big Ripoff is better than the first movie, even though it doesn't have Stella Stevens in it, which is, not every movie can. In fact, and it's really kind of weak on the females. Gloria Hendry, who was in Live and Let Die, and a lot of other stuff, is kind of just the woman that's in trouble and he has to rescue, and she's kind of crying all the time. That's unfortunate, but the story makes sense. And maybe the most bizarre thing about it is, here's who played the villain: Ed McMahon. Johnny Carson's sidekick plays the villain. And when I was watching it with my wife, in that case, she had seen it in the theater years ago, but didn't remember it. So we're watching it, and she sees that. She says, Ed McMahon, oh my God, And then he was pretty good. He was pretty, and she said so. Hey, he's really good. He was really a really good villain. So I like those very much. The surprise to me was one I'd never seen before, and this is a movie called Bucktown. And Bucktown is very much in the tradition of, you remember the movies that Phil Carlson did, like Phoenix City Story and Walking Tall, the first Walking Tall.
Yeah, the first Walking Tall. Yeah.
Well, he was kind of
Buford Pusser?
Yeah. He was kind of known for doing these like corrupt small towns where somebody comes in and cleans them up. And Phoenix City Story, which is a noir, early 50s, was a real town and was based on a real story. And I think they shot it there. So you saw that sort of sleaze. And Bucktown also is shot in a neighborhood like that, a real like neon lit area of sin, the kind that we three gentlemen would never set foot in.
Well, our motel is square in the middle of one.
Well, that's business.
That's true.
That's business. But it stars. Get this. Let me get this all. I got a note or two here, but it stars Fred Williamson, Pam Grier, and where is that? I'm sorry, I have a few notes here. Famous rap. I don't know how you say his name, but he was terrific in a lot of these blaxploitation movies. Famous Rasculala, I guess. I don't. Do you know how to pronounce his name?
No,
we can't help you there.
No, I don't. That's a Chat GPT question.
Yeah, but it was directed by Arthur Marks, who did a lot of Perry Masons, and he did. I think he was kind of a blaxploitation specialist for a while because he did JD's Revenge and The Monkey Hustle, which they'll probably be in the next box. But also popping up are Bernie Hamilton, and Bernie Hamilton is a James Bond.
Yep.
Felix Leiter.
That's right. In Never Say No. Yeah, Never Say Never Again. No,
yeah.
That's Bernie Casey. right?
Right. I thought that maybe I got that wrong, but I can tell you that Carl Weathers is in it from the Rocky movies, as you know.
But he was in Friday Foster too.
Yeah, and he was.
Yeah.
And he was a bad guy in Friday Foster, and he's a bad guy here. It's a really interesting premise because Fred Williamson comes back to bury his, and this is common in these movies, to bury, I guess it's his father, and it's some relative, and finds out he was murdered, and he didn't want to stay around, but he has to, so everything gets settled up in the estate, so that he's talked into working, to running the bar that his father owned. And the local police are really, really corrupt. It's a stretch, but they're really, really corrupt and really put the arm on him. And, he at the beginning, he gives them some money that they asked for, and that, fine. It's like the production money. I got to pay this. But they don't go away. They keep after him, and they're very vile white people, okay? And you're watching this movie, and he calls in a bunch of his friends to clean the town up, okay? And it's the usual delightful thing of seeing stupid white guys getting killed by great black guys. So for me, it's very interesting and entertaining. But all of a sudden you go, well, but the movie's only a third over. Well, the black guys take the town over. And then the Fred Williamson character has to deal with cleaning up the town, basically, that's being run by his friends who came in. And it's just a delightful, smart action movie. Pam Grier is in it. She's it's not a real big action role for her. There are scenes where not a lot of wardrobe is required for her, which is a plus, in my opinion. And I would say that and Cotton Goes to Harlem, those are the two real stars of this. And Foxy Brown. You got three really good ones, and they're all watchable. And I think Dieter, you'll have a good time with this.
Right. If there's nice to know that two of the best ones are still coming up for me. Then
yeah, there are. I think you'll be very, very, very pleased. So, and
thanks for clearing that up, Max, because I was, if I remember correctly, in the documentary on the first box set, they said Slaughter was one of the first actually blaxploitation movies.
Slaughter is. I got all this stuff. Slaughter is 72. So in terms of being one of the first movies to take advantage of the market, that Cotton Goes to Harlem and Shaft. And I should, I mentioned that I was in with a black audience in Chicago. Well, when I saw Shaft, which is in, I don't know, Davenport, Iowa, the theater I saw it opening day. The theater was packed by primarily white people. So there was a real crossover. This was something we always went to the theater to see the blaxploitation movies. We always knew they'd be entertaining, and but it was kind of over by 1975. You think of it as when you hear blaxploitation, you think it must have been a 10 or 15 year phenomenon.
Nope,
run.
It just wasn't. So that's what I have for you guys this week.
Well, Max,
nice.
I don't know what's going on in the C Wing, but it's always good to have you here, from our broadcast studio in the B&B Motel.
Well, yeah, I have to go over this afternoon and clean some toilets, and that's not my favorite thing.
No.
But Dieter insists on that it be absolutely spotless before the people come in.
I have nothing to say, Max. I'm just a worker bee, I'm not the manager.
No. Then why am I sending you the checks? Yeah, why are you worried? You think law enforcement from the United States will come over to Germany to get you? I just don't think that will happen. I heard a rumor that a guy got $50,000 in a paper bag, and the FBI just dropped the case. Because
What are you gonna do?
I mean, it's just so. So
That would
anyway,
be nice.
I do think, and I welcome a rant from you, Rob, at some time when you've already done a few. But the threat on freedom of speech right now is chilling.
It is chilling.
Yeah.
The things
mean,
we like,
The slide into authoritarianism, the welcome slide, apparently. I mean, it's unbelievable to see how quickly things. What I find really interesting is America is now a case study to see how fast in our social media age the foundational principles of this country can be stripped away. It's happening on a daily basis, it seems.
Well, I kind of wonder if, I think you and I talked about this maybe just in a phone conversation we had, but we now have the generation that lived through the Depression, that lived through World War II, and some of them lived through Korea. They're mostly deceased.
Yeah.
And they had a different, deep feeling about America and the things that America stood for. I mean, you look at World War II and how people just came together. I mean, the unity in America was amazing, and now those people are gone, and so I just think there's a generation or two, and to some degree, I think my generation has amnesia. The idea that I don't know.
Well, what I find really interesting is if you were going to get a little political here, conspiracy thrillery, 70s parallax view, 3 Days of the Condor, what's really interesting is no longer are the underlying principles of America, say the Constitution and the Bill of Rights, those don't seem to be at the forefront of anyone's minds. Now it's become tribal and team-based. The Democrats and the Republicans, the libtards, and it's all these people, all these the factionalization of people, and nobody's thinking about the underlying principles of what American democracy or the American Republic is based on. It's now a team sport. So it's become, your team is now more important than the underlying foundational principles of this country, because people have been convinced that, these people over here aren't supporting those things. And what America actually has been forgotten, where before it was not so, it was not a cult. We were not a cult of personality, not the way we are now. And that's what I find interesting, that because nobody knows, nobody even knows what the Bill of Rights and the Constitution say, because nobody reads. We're not teaching civics in school anymore. Nobody listens to Schoolhouse Rock. No one even understands how a bill becomes a law. We all knew in elementary school, because I'm just a bill. Yes, I'm only a bill, and I am sitting here on Capitol Hill. Now nobody knows that. Kids today, young people today, they're all tribal. They're all based on who they like, based on who they see on TikTok and who they see on social media. And it's made it very easy to subvert American. Look, if you're subverting our checks and balances, the executive branch has basically destroyed the three, where the legislative, the executive, they're at odds now. Everybody, and the judicial branch. What is going on? What is going on? And no one seems to be paying attention as all of these things are being shredded. And it is not normal.
We had Kennedy and we had Obama, who are two people. I'm talking about John F. Kennedy, not Robert F. Kennedy Jr.
Right. We had JFK and RFK.
JFK, and to some degree RFK. But of the presidents, we had JFK and we had Obama, and they both were, presidents that a good share of the people adored, and some didn't.
Reagan too.
Reagan.
People love Reagan.
But now it's moved into a cultish thing that is not like Reagan. It's not like Obama. It's not like JFK. And once you move into that cultish area, if you're a cult member, you can be sold anything, including the Kool-Aid.
Well, yeah, no. Well, the thing is, the figureheads are just that. What's important is what's underneath. What is the foundations of our republic? And the problem is people don't know what they are anymore.
Well, I do, as you know, I do a weekly update and blog at maxallencollins.com, and it's ALLAN. And I try never to talk about politics. And things in recent months, it's like, pulling me back in, right? The guy, I was supposed to, and I think you know this, Rob, I was planning to do an RFK novel.
Right.
About
on Robert, not Jr., but our Robert Kennedy.
Hoffa, and it was in my Nathan Heller series, which, by the way, Rob, take it away.
By the way, if you want to know what Max Allen Collins has cooking up, you can go to truenoir.co right now. And I, of course, directed, produced, and edited an adaptation of the very first Nathan Heller novel, True Detective, all 10 episodes, or you can listen to them either as 10 episodes or one long piece. Scripted, of course, by Max Allen Collins. We have everybody from Anthony LaPaglia playing Al Capone. David Strathairn is playing Frank Nitti. Michael Rosenbaum is playing Nathan Heller. Katie Sackhoff is Janie, his girlfriend. The great Chris Carr is playing Marianne Beam. We've got everybody from playing FDR, the great Barry Bostwick, who's having a renaissance with the 50th anniversary of Rocky Horror Picture Show. We've got Adam Arkin is in it. We've got a star-studded cast, all written by you, Max, and you can go get it.
There's a rumor that there may be an expansion of distribution before too long.
Yes, yes, it's finally going to be off the website, and you'll be able to get it wherever you get your podcasts. It will be everywhere. And, of course, Max, there is the movie. Dying in the Post-War World, that you scripted based on your novella, Dying in the Post-War World, set in 1947, that I'm going to be directing in 2026. So there you go. That's
the plan, and I think we're going to make it happen one way or another. We'll hit up some of our wealthy friends like Dieter and get a little money.
Yeah, Dieter and I are the wealthiest men on YouTube.
Dieter, you too can be an executive.
I sent you my about the gas because I heard somebody is paying gas bills for other people.
Well, before we went off on that little side road, I was supposed to be doing the 19th Nathan Heller novel was going to be RFK and Jimmy Hoffa, and I've been building up to it. I've done 3 novels with a lot of RFK stuff in it, and I was frankly watching Robert Kennedy Jr. doing whatever wonderful thing he was doing, and I turned to my wife and said, I don't think I can write an RFK novel right now. I think this guy has damaged the brand. And so I had to, in my update, which I usually am not political, hardly ever is there anything in there political. I mean, you can figure out my point of view, but I don't wear it on my sleeve. I had to write about why this book, which I've been talking about for like 5 years in my, why I'm not going to write it now. Or if I do, it'll be years from now. And so I had to write that. And now I haven't written it for next week yet. And I'm thinking, how do I not address the freedom of speech issue?
Well, I just read this morning that the White House is going to tie Tylenol to autism. And of course,
this morning.
where are the studies for that? So yeah, but
that's freedom of speech. You can tell somebody, you can share your half-baked theories about vaccines anywhere you want to. Just don't put that person in charge of vaccines.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. So I have to restrain myself, but I think I am gonna write tomorrow about, look, whatever you think of Jimmy Kimmel, and they don't ever talk about. He didn't say anything outlandish.
No.
You know what though? There's a great clip of him and Snoop Dogg on a show where it's it's labeled 2016, but it's actually 2014. I saw it this morning when Jimmy Kimmel says, "One day, Jimmy, They're going to come for Snoop's, like they're going to come in his inimitable Snoop voice. He's going, they're going to come for your black ass, and they're going to toss you off TV one day. And this is from 2014, and Jimmy Kimmel's laughing. Oh, that's never going to happen. Snoop's like, sure.
Yeah, because this is going to step into fiction. This is going to step into movies. This is going to, and God, it's going to step into what people can say in journalism and in media. It's already media looks somewhat intimidated. So
the worst part is they're going to come for my Amazon list and Dieter's Amazon list, and they're going to figure out everything that we've bought, all the movies that we bought over the last since we started this show. They'll be able to go back and look at all the movies. Like, hey, look at this, a 4K version of Thriller, A Cruel Picture. And they're, oh, I've got a Serbian film, and look at this, and they will come for us. Where's your physical? They'll be armed Gestapo at the door. You know what Gestapo is, right? They'll be armed Gestapo, and they'll ask us to surrender. But ironically, they'll say you can keep your bootleg of Song of the South. It's not on this list.
Well, you're not going to have to worry about
the official release, Rob.
I'm going to probably write about freedom of speech, and it'll appear in my column Tuesday, and all of this will go away.
But freedom of speech doesn't count. To be fair, when you are working for a large corporation,
sure,
you do also have a duty to tell the truth. I think, as much as you can, and there was to certain things that were said that were not necessarily, I mean, I think they actually were true at a certain point of time, but information was coming out very, very quickly.
Right.
And so certain things you have to go back and look at it all holistic. And I'm the first person to say that. You got to look at it holistically, everything that's happening. The problem is we now live in a world where people want, I mean, I think that if nothing else, we are seeing with the spate of assassinations that have happened just this year, that we are now living in a very dangerous world where people used to say that words were violence. Words are not violence. Violence is violence. But the fact that people think that they should perpetrate violence against people that spoke words is very, very concerning. And,
yes, it is.
And
yes, it is.
It's I'll tell you from my own perspective, no one deserves to die for something they've said. And certainly no one deserves to die the way Charlie Kirk was assassinated. And, he was somebody, I watched a lot of him actually on social media because from my perspective, I didn't watch his podcast or anything, but I watched a lot of his reels and things. And I always loved to watch how would he deal with people that were openly hostile to him in public environments. Like, how do you keep that under control? And I always admired his ability to engage with people that he knew were hostile to him and his viewpoint. And if there's a lot of people you can dislike or not, but he was somebody that was willing to, he took a risk, and he was willing to go out into the public sphere and have discussions with people and listen to both sides. And it was what happened to him was shocking, and it was one of the and the fact that anybody was gloating about his death is disgusting. And there were people that were taking things he said out of context and like making montages of things he said out of context and posting it. And I was asking people, are you saying that you're posting this compilation of things that were taken out of context because you're trying to tell me or convince people that somehow he deserved to be assassinated? And if that's the way we're thinking in this country, we are truly lost as a nation. And that's when people are justifying political violence, we are lost.
Well, I completely agree. And there is another aspect of this, though, the freedom of speech. If you're working for somebody and they're paying you to do a show or to write something, like if I turn in a book to a publisher and they look at that and say, we don't want to publish this. I know we hired you to do this, but we don't like the result. and we're not going to publish this. They can, whoever you sold something to, like Jimmy Kimmel sold to ABC or what, they have a right to fire you because they're not happy or your ratings are bad or what is wrong here is the FCC waited in.
That's what's wrong.
They waited in and they said, well, you guys can do this or we'll do it the easy way or the hard way. Now that's
and I've been quoted.
That's an extortion racket. That's the protection racket.
People will come back at you and say, but the FCC has rules that you can't like lie or not tell the truth or whatever. But there was at some point what he said was not a lie. That was actually true. But what also was going on is, look, this is also about a merger. You know, Next Star, which owns, there is, for those of you who don't know, who are still watching this, if they haven't tuned out yet,
that's drive everyone away.
Next Star is you cannot own more than 39% of television stations that have a certain reach in the United States. And the reason that is true is because they don't want somebody to have editorially to be able to espouse ideas one way or another. Right. To be able to unduly influence a large swath of the country. But what's happening is Nexstar wants to have a $6 billion merger with another company that would put them over the 39% number. And they need the FCC to give them a waiver to do it. So if you watch the chairman of the FCC speak, that guy's a fucking fascist. And he's willing to do whatever. And what they're trying to do is take away the guardrails. That 39%, again, exists so you don't have a certain voice one way or another.
Right.
This is all, I mean, if you look at it, it's textbook authoritarianism. Let's take away if you look at all the guardrails that have been removed, even the way things work in the White House, the judicial, the legislative, and the executive branch, all of those things have been removed. Because in our world, both sides and everybody talking is supposed to get equal time, and that's not happening. And when these guardrails are, and everybody should be concerned about it. That's the thing to be concerned about. Is like you said, when you're paid by somebody else, you serve at their pleasure.
That's right.
And but when you want to publish a book yourself and somebody tells you you can't have that content, and we're there. Make no mistake, we are there. And we're only a little bit longer until movies are being, I mean, thank God horror movies are successful right now that nobody's really paying attention.
Yeah.
Because people are going to go in and go, because traditionally science fiction, fantasy, and horror have been the stealth way to get in topics that the authorities don't necessarily want you to discuss.
And science fiction.
Science fiction, fantasy, horror.
Yeah.
That's why the Twilight Zone existed.
I would argue that, mystery noir also travels that road. For example, the Heller book I'm going to do now is going to be about Watergate and a corrupt president. So read into that what you will.
I mean, yeah, it's very interesting. But
guys,
on that note,
what
was this show about?
Lots of laughs. But I'm sorry, but this was imposed upon us this moment in time.
It's true.
So Dieter, thank you for your patience. Yes.
Yeah. Just quick, Max, to get around full circle to Demon Slayer. So your son is able to watch Demon Slayer in Japanese without subtitles.
Yes, he is. I mean,
I'm envious.
I think I told you he's the translator of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, which is a fairly major manga, and he had done Battle Royale, the translation of the novel, and he's the hardest working man in show business. And I do have no idea how somebody that smart could have come any part of him could have come from me, because when they ask me, well, tell me about your son. Well, he looks just like me, except he's taller and smarter.
There you go. Well,
better than shorter and dumber, I guess.
Well, Max, it's always a pleasure to have you.
Thank
Thanks for that analysis of the box set, the Blaxploitation box set.
It's a good
Volume 2, that comes from, of course, Shout Factory. Our friends at Shout Factory, what a great box set. They, of course, are also putting out all the Golden Princess films. We talked about Ringo Lam's City on Fire. They've got, I can't wait to get that hard-boiled box. Ooh.
Well, and I've already ordered the Better Tomorrow box.
Yeah, and the Better
Nice.
Tomorrow. I mean, come on. Got to have all that stuff. Yes, please.
Please.
All right, Max, we will
Waited
let
a
you
long time for
go,
those.
and we will go back to being the B&B Motel. We're closing the Sea Wing till next week because, God, you have a lot of renovations to do, and I don't even want to know what you're putting in the nightstands. There's no
The
Bibles. There's no
the
Bible in
shag-
the night tables of those motel rooms.
The shag carpet alone is costing a fortune. And and we're putting D.H. Lawrence in the in the bureau drawers.
Oh, I'm sure you are.
So it's you guys are going to like it. You guys are gonna
we're
like
going to do a full inspection, and we're
Yeah.
going to use black light. Make sure you cleaned it up nice.
if we could only get Dieter to come across the ocean waves and check into the new sexy room at the Sea Wing.
I don't want to see what a
him.
German does to the sexy room. You know what they do? They'll trash the whole place. Only
Well-
Germans can be that freaky.
There's going to be a framed poster of Elsa movie in there.
Ooh,
But
nice.
which one? There's 4.
First one.
All right, there you go. We can. Okay. All right. That's in the news section. Ilsa's in the news, by the way. All right, Max, we're gonna
Thank
let
you,
you
guys.
go before we get in trouble.
All right. I think we already are, but thank
Yeah.
you.
All right. That was
Bye,
the great
guys.
Max Allen Collins,
next
ladies and gentlemen. I will let Max go. It's always great to have him here. So yes, and you gotta love him. You gotta love Max. And
Rob, can you help someone out in the live chat? JT asks, Dieter, where do you live? I was in Germany for 2 years. Where do I live, Rob?
Dieter lives in Saarbrücken, Deutschland.
There you go, JT. Saarbrücken. I know it's not
So-
well known, but Rob knows it.
This is a show. What's the show about?
Physical media, Rob.
Physical media. We haven't even talked about what we've got this week. I'm gonna turn it over
All
to
right.
you for a few minutes.
Yeah.
And let you start.
Correct.
Do you have enough that you can talk for a few minutes?
Yeah, certainly, Rob. Okay.
All right.
So I will show what I've gotten because we were on a break for 14 days, which means I probably have some titles to show. Okay, the first one I found movie was okay, was fine. Perhaps I even like the first one more, but it's always nice to see Amazon putting out their stuff, not only theatrical, but later on physical media too. I got The Accountant 2 as a 4K, nothing special to it, but comes with a Blu-ray too. And at least it had reversible cover artwork to get rid of the German rating. Accountant 2. The next one I already talked about, that I have seen the movie digitally. And yes, it wasn't the biggest hit, but you know my trashy sense, and I love Matilda Lutz, so I purchased Red Sonja. I don't want to hear anything, but this is the perfect movie that will go into the little slip, because this movie shouldn't take up this kind of space, Red Sonja. The next one, unfortunately, Rob is not here because we will probably get demonetized. I bought in Germany. It is uncut. It says Sex and Zen, and we have, of course, most important thing is the category 3 label for it, and it had reversible cover artwork too, the same, but just without the logo. But it said on the original cover or the back that it is the ultimate uncut edition, whatever that means. Then I heard Rob and Max talking about this movie being a masterpiece from the 50s. Okay, I will give it a shot. I bought Sunset Boulevard on 4K.
It's about time you got that. A real movie for once.
Yeah. For once, Rob. Yeah, you know, I'm trying to, you know, expand my knowledge, Rob. Besides the trash, you know. So Sunset Boulevard, because it was a Schnäppchen, Rob. It was price reduced on Amazon.
Well, it's one of the great movies of all time, and it's about Hollywood.
Nice. It's always good, Rob. Sunset Boulevard. The next one, considering the cover artwork, you would Dieter's not going to buy this because it's not really my taste considering cover, but I heard good things about from Criterion, from a film by Alice Wu. The movie is called Saving Grace. So
Face.
while the cover artwork is not certainly
Saving Face.
my cup of tea. Saving Face, sorry, Rob. Saving Face, correct. Saving Face. And it comes with the usual nicely folded booklet from Criterion. Or liner notes and some pictures. And this is the UK version, but I think it's out in the States as the same, in the same edition. This is not a 4K. This is just a Blu-ray. Saving Face. The next one, Rob showed his Arrow box sets from the Dollar Trilogy, and I said, nah, I'm not the biggest fan of the cover artworks of those box sets, but Arrow released those sets again without the swag, without the box, just as normal editions, but for me with actually the better covers. But I only got the last two, so for a few dollars more is here, and you even have reversible cover artwork, but I love this one that already was featured at the front the most. This is only a 2-disc set, the extras and the movie, and of course the good, the bad, the ugly is the 3-disc set. The 3-disc set 2, which comes with the 2 cuts of the movie, a little bit advertising, sorry, and of course the extras on the third. And I'm still surprised, Rob, that it's still an 18 certificate, the movie. The good, the bad, the
That's interesting.
ugly. Yeah, certainly, Rob, certainly. Perhaps not done a new evaluation of the movie. No, in Germany you can do a new evaluation of the movie at some point, and mostly it's actually pretty strange, Rob, how many movies that were 18 and censored now are 16 and uncut. The next one from Lucky McGee. Somehow this movie passed me by because it was always around that time when Blu-ray started, where you wouldn't hold off to buy the DVD. So some movies in that time space I haven't seen, and I hadn't seen this one from Lucky McGee, The Woods, actually. Bruce Campbell is in it too, from Arrow. Comes with a different
I've never seen that
cover.
either.
Yeah, it wasn't. It's from 2006. From Lucky McGee, comes with a booklet in it. No. And Rachel Nichols is in it, and Bruce Campbell has a role in it too. But it's not a 4K. This is just normal Blu-ray. So the Woods. Then let me go over. And Rob, we talk now. Will you buy Pearl again and Maxine again? Now I have a movie, Rob, that I can already show 2 editions this week. And I love the movie, so for me that's okay. Because I'm talking about Eli Craig's Clown in a Cornfield. I got the American Steelbook, which is really nice. It comes with some magnets attached to it. You can attach something, the 4K and the Blu-ray. And the American version has not only those magnets, but it has some special features too, which the German one actually is lacking. So you've got the Steelbook, And it's nicely embossed here.
It's a nice steelbook. I mean, it looks great.
Yeah. And you have inside drop, because it's based on those books, a little bit notice about the continuation of the story, because I didn't know that it was based on a book series. And I'm really hoping they will continue. So this is the Steer book. And then we have the German media book from Nameless, which means we don't have a folded spine here anymore.
Well, that's really
changed it.
That's really pretty.
I love that rope. I love that is completely flat on that front. So we have the 4K, and I'm really looking forward perhaps to check the movie against each other, because I heard the 4K is didn't receive big good notes. So I will check if they are the same, or perhaps there is a difference. I don't know. And then we have, of course, the media book, the cast in it, and a little interview with the author of the books. And I've got Rob number 252. I don't know if I can make visible on this hologram. No, it's tough to do, of 444. And the last one, before I get into the big ones, then I will first get it over to Rob. This was one of my favorite movies, horror movies of the year. I told Rob about it, and it's out now in Germany as a media book. 2 from Norway, The Ugly Stepsister.
Yeah.
Finally
Wow, that's great too. Look at that.
Arrived.
I wish we had media books in the United States. We don't have any.
For me, one of the totally great surprises of this year. If you want to see that story a little bit from, a different perspective, The Ugly Stepsister, totally big recommendation from my end. So a little bit of my first horror up. I give it over to you, my friend. Or let's see if there were some super chats left, perhaps. I don't know.
Yeah, there are. We can check them out. Let's see. Let's see what people have to say. Garrett Groover asks, "What is my favorite Laserdisc release?" Well, it won't be surprising to know that one of my favorite Laserdisc releases ever was the Japanese Chrome box set of Dawn of the Dead that had Romero's director's cut, and it had Dario Argento's version. So there's really 3 versions of Dawn of the Dead. There's Argento's European cut. There's the theatrical version, which, by the way, I still think is the best version of the movie. And then there's Romero's extended cut that has more character stuff and more violence. Romero's,
I think Rob, your Star Wars Japanese Laserdisc was important too.
Yeah,
considering
and I was going
to ratio.
Why you gotta harsh my mellow? Yeah, no, yes. So back in the 80s, what was really interesting was watching the move over to letterboxed discs. And the thing with Laserdisc, unlike with now we have 16:9 TVs.
Yeah.
But when you had 4:3 television sets, to get letterbox versions of the movie, you had to reduce the picture quite a bit to get the full frame in. But it was really, for me and for film fans, Laserdiscs, the very first letterboxed, if memory serves, the very first letterbox thing that ever came out was Woody Allen's Manhattan. And it was released both on tape and on disc. But when MGM did that, the letterboxing was gray, so it wasn't black. It was really odd. Yeah. And then they did things like Color Purple, but it wasn't a widescreen. Color Purple was not a Panavision film that Spielberg made. That was also released with a slight letterbox. I don't remember if it was 166 or 185. But really, the very first American letterbox disc was when Criterion did Blade Runner. And when Blade Runner came out on Laserdisc, that was a big deal. It It was really a great package. They actually used the an early version, like a sketch version of the artwork. I think it was John Alvin. Was Alvin who painted the Blade Runner artwork? And it was an incredible package. And to get Blade Runner letterbox was amazing. But the really difficult thing to get was Star Wars letterbox, which I obviously have. I've shown it on TV a lot. The Japanese released as CAV. There was two different kinds of Laserdisc. There was CLV and there was CAV. And one was constant angular velocity and one was constant linear velocity. And constant angular velocity allowed one rotation of a Laserdisc to be a still frame. So that's how you were able to step through discs and you could get a pure still frame. And then there was constant linear velocity, and constant angular velocity discs were really only a half an hour per side. And so Star Wars came out as CAV discs. So the picture was the best it could be, and you could stop it and rewind it and look at it. And the Pony Laserdisc, I think it was Pony. It was either Emotion or Pony. I think it was Pony.
Yeah.
The Star Wars Laserdiscs that came out from... So there was Star Wars Empire and Jedi. And what was really interesting, on the end of the Jedi Laserdisc, they played scenes from all three movies, and they showed you what they look like pan and scan, and what they look like
that's nice. That's always
letterbox.
nice.
But they only did that on Jedi. But even to this day, it is the Laserdisc, the Japanese Laserdisc of Star Wars is considered the most accurate color timing to the original theatrical release of the film. Every other version of Star Wars that had been released, and what was really interesting, the Star Wars Laserdiscs were the first instances, at least really that were noticeable in home video, when they started to use digital kind of noise reduction, and they started playing shenanigans with the picture. Yeah. And what happened was, you could tell, and this was terrible, the lightsabers would streak.
Ooh.
You know, because they were trying to deal with, and it was all early stuff. And then also, if you bought the Star Wars Definitive Edition on Laserdisc, the first 4 seconds of Side 2 of Empire Strikes Back were missing. So there was all kinds of wackiness that went on. But those Japanese versions of Star Wars Empire and Jedi, unfortunately, you know, they were only NTSC video. So it's 640 by 480 was the biggest image they could get in terms of pixels, and with NTSC it was 525 was the most amount of lines, and even Laserdisc didn't deliver that. So you try and go back and watch those now, they look like garbage, like all NTSC video does. I mean, HD is 6 times, the resolution is 6 times better than NTSC video, and then 4K is 4 times better than HD. So those are my favorites: Dawn of the Dead and the Star Wars version from Japan. And they were both very hard to get. Kelvin Wellborn says he sent me an email, had a great MOC, and that was, I guess, member call. That was great member call yesterday. Darth Plato says, did I get his letter? I don't know, I'll have to look. Major Chai Chai says, great member call yesterday. I will have to catch the rest of Let's Get Physical Media later. I'm off to watch Apollo 13 in IMAX. They have, for those of you who don't know, they have re-released Apollo 13 in IMAX. It was not really, no one paid much attention that it is coming out in IMAX, but it was. Walter Whitewalker also says, I was hoping the Apollo 13 re-release had more interest. Well, that's the problem. They have these movies coming out that people haven't seen in the theater, and especially Apollo 13's great. I love Apollo 13. I think it's one of Ron Howard's best movies. Yeah. And it's unfortunate that not enough people know that
about those releases.
Yeah, and it's kind of a bummer, to be honest. Now let me look for Darth Plato's letter.
Yeah. You have to check the program of your multiplex. What are they playing?
Yeah.
Every week.
Darth Plato. I see which. I maybe sent it to my other email. Depends. I never know. I don't know, Darth Plato. Thomas Logan. Did you get Thomas Logan's letter?
I got that, Rob. But I'm happy if you will read it. Because I told him, keep it short. Keep it short. Can't.
Darth
Can't keep
Plato,
it under
I
20
do
words.
not have. I don't know what I don't have a. I don't know. I don't see a letter from you.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean I don't know where it is. If you want to resend it to me, I have to find out. I'll have to look at that. So I don't know. Maybe resend it. I don't know what email it's at, or did you send it to me via Twitter? Not sure. But I'll keep a lookout for that. Would you like me to read Thomas Logan's letter right now?
Yeah. Well, I'm glad if you take that over for me.
It is a long letter.
Yeah.
It is a long letter.
If I can't stop scrolling, Rob, oh boy.
And there's you know what? We'll save that letter for a little later because I have to download some graphics to go along with it.
Yeah.
So why don't I show some physical media?
Correct. What do you get? Like I said, perhaps there's one that we have both. Let's see.
Okay, well that's probably at the end. That's probably save that. That's toward the end.
Yeah.
So I got a box from Kino Lorber, not a big box, but a box. Interesting stuff. What I really like about what Kino Lorber, even though they're only DVDs, I love when Kino Lorber sends me foreign TV shows that I've never seen. This one is called The Lake. It's the Lake Trilogy. And this is really interesting. The Lake Trilogy, it's known as Jezero. It's from Slovenia. And it's the first Slovenian Nordic noir series. And it's 3 seasons. So in many ways, Slovenia's alpine answer to the Nordic noir craze. A cinematic police procedural in a scenic winter landscape with a dark and troubled protagonist. The series follows Detective Taras Birsa as he investigates murders and explores themes of small-town life and the clash between provincial and urban worlds, and is a gripping slow-burn procedural with many twists. And it's a trilogy. The first is The Lake, the second is Lennon Park, and the final installment is called The Valley of Flowers. I love stuff like this, and the only way I would ever know it exists is because of Kino Lorber. And I know it's just on DVD, but that's okay.
Yeah.
Don't care. So thank you, Kino Lorber, for that. Then they also sent me, because a lot of indie movies and documentaries don't get HD releases, and they sent me this film, which I had actually heard of, called Summer Solstice. This is about two friends from college who had an attraction to each other, man and a woman. Woman comes to find her male friend to drive to upstate New York, and it turns out he is a trans woman in the middle of transitioning. And so they hit the road together, and they go on a interpersonal, call it an interpersonal odyssey. And Kino Lorber has definitely represented, more than I think any other company, with many, many LGBTQ releases. And it's something I don't think they get enough credit for, whether it's documentaries or feature films. I don't think anybody has done more for LGBTQ cinema than Kino Lorber has. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not sure. And this is a first film by Noah Seamus, the director, and it's gotten a lot of good notices. So even Collider, it's got a quote from Collider on the back saying, "Hell of a first feature, proving that Seamus is a strong and important voice, and has an extremely bright future as both a writer and director." So, kudos to Kino for putting those out. Kino also...
It wasn't your quote, considering it was from Collider, Rob.
Yeah, it wasn't my quote. I know. Then they put out The Best Little Whorehouse in Texas, but I keep thinking that this is a re-release. I think they put this out before. I might have shown this.
Rob.
I don't know.
Sure.
Best Little with Burt Reynolds and Dolly Parton. Famous movie. Not a great movie. I saw this in the theater, but I'm happy to have it. Happy to add it to the collection. What's not to love?
Perhaps you think, Rob, it should be out already, but perhaps it wasn't.
Maybe it wasn't. A Ray Milland film called French Without Tears. Notice how they're going back to the classic artwork. Very, very Warner Archive with these titles. This is from 1940. and it's a Paramount film. Again, more of the Paramount library being rated, but I'm happy for it. Don't know anything about it, but a 1940 Raymond Land film, interesting. This I'm really happy to get. One of they're putting out these old Peter Sellers movies, The Wrong Arm of the Law. This is from 1963. I love Peter Sellers. This predates Dr. Strangelove by a year. So it's great that they're giving us these Peter Sellers titles from England. Really great to have that. They've already put out a few already, so it's good to get this. And the only 4K I got from them, but it's a good one, because William Shatner's in it. And that's, of course, Airplane 2.
Nice.
The sequel.
Looking forward to that. Because I love the sequel.
I love this too. Yeah. And great to have it in 4K. So thank you, Kino Lorber, for that. And now,
there was that great joke, Rob. There was that great joke when you were thinking he's on the monitor and he's just behind the door.
It's so good. I mean, that is one of the funniest things ever. And then I got some great Warner Archive stuff. Warner Archive sent me these collections. So these are Blu-ray collections. Now, they sent me a lot of these individually, but these are collections.
Yeah.
And these collections, I recommend everybody buy. These collections are full of bangers. So the first one is the Errol Flynn collection. Now, you've got Robin Hood, The Adventures of Robin Hood. You have the Seahawk, the Santa Fe Trail, Edge of Darkness, Burma, and The Adventures of Don Juan. This is a 6 movies, 1 box set. This is essential. And if you're not up on,
there are six discs in this set, Rob.
They're probably not. Let's open up and see. I have no idea. It is kind of a heavy box set. I don't know if they're on individual discs or not. But let's crack it open and let's see.
They're probably the same as the individual releases.
Yes, sir. They are. There is 6 discs in here, which is great. So these are like the individual releases. I don't know what the retail price is, but I'll tell you something.
Yeah.
These collections, if you want to get a definitive collection, these collections, Warner Archives discs, the highest bit rates, it's worth it just to have the Adventures of Robin Hood in your collection. But these
even save a little space, Rob.
Saves a lot of space. These are great to have. And not to be outdone, the Greta Garbo collection. She doesn't want to be alone because there's 4 Greta Garbo movies in here that you can buy. And you've got, Ninochka, Queen Christina, Anna Christie, and these are, oops, as I drop it.
No.
These, all 4 of these.
Did the cover, how did they did the cover artwork for those,
Yeah.
Not just,
but these are all classics. These are all Stone classics. So this is great. And then, not to be outdone, they sent a box of 50s sci-fi movies, including Them, and of course The Beast from 20,000 Fathoms, which is Ray Harryhausen, World Without End, and Attack of the 50-Foot Woman. This is a great example of 50s sci-fi and horror. I mean, Them is one of the great movies. And the thing about Them is the Warner Archive version has Them is a black and white movie, but it has a color title card. So, which was something that didn't always exist. So that's a good one. So I like that Warner Archive are putting these out. This is the way to do these kinds of catalog titles. Because bundled together, it's a really great deal, and these discs are incredible. Warner Archive does such an incredible disc. Kudos to George Feltenstein and all the folks at Warner Archive for doing these, because these are really, really great collections. They also sent, because they keep sending me these, and I'm happy to take them, Aztec Batman Clash of Empires in 4K.
Oh, nice. The new animated movie.
Yeah, and people are like mad about these for whatever reason. Who doesn't want to see Aztec Batman? Come on, man. But of course, from Warner Archive, their 3rd 4K title, which is, of course, Michael Caine in Get Carter. Again,
it's on its way.
With the slipcase. Now, I think BFI put this out. I don't know if it's the same transfer or not, But if you don't have this,
correct.
if you don't have this, you got to Get Carter. Classic crime thriller. Warner Archive putting out, making sure you're going to get the best image quality possible. Michael Caine in one of his signature roles. Of course, remade with Sylvester Stallone. But you got to have this. You got to have Get Carter.
And it wasn't that movie that Max brought up to the table some sort of version of Get Carter. Wasn't it Hitman? Hitman did
Maybe it might be.
Version?
It might be.
I think
I
Max
don't remember.
brought a movie up that is sort of.
And then, of course, we talk a lot about how 1982 is the greatest year for big year for science fiction, fantasy, and horror. The summer of 1982. Well, this next film is not from the summer of 1982. It's from the year after 1982.
Okay.
It's from 1983. And it is a heady, frothy mix of science fiction and fantasy. It was positioned as a big, epic movie. It still, to this day, has one of the great weapons ever depicted in a science fiction, fantasy, or horror movie, the glaive. And for those of you who know what it is, you know already. It has a great stop-motion crystalline spider in it, too. I'm, of course, referring to the steelbook of Krull.
Nice, you already have it. Nice.
So there is the steelbook for Krull. You know what? To be honest, I've owned this movie. I think I saw it in the theater the night it opened.
Yeah.
But I haven't seen this movie in 20 years, 30 years probably.
Yeah,
it also has a
totally be
digital
interesting,
copy.
Rob. Considering it's Sony, we know how they deliver, what great picture quality
Oh,
they deliver.
and of course,
with their titles.
the people. Here's the thing: the physical media department at Sony, they do know what's up because they put the glaive right on the disc.
Awesome.
And they know this is actually the original key art for the film, and that was what the one sheet looked like. A little Photoshoppy for my taste, but hey, who cares? But here's and all fantasy, sci-fi, cinema, or variations in the 80s, other than things like Dragon Slayer, which were firmly set in the era which they're set in. They all were kind of this cross between science fiction and Tolkien, Yeah, but I'll be curious to go. I always am curious to see, like, this was, again, positioned as a big fantasy film. Didn't love it. Like this, Dark Crystal came out in 82. Legend came out in, 86? I like Legend. I think Legend was my favorite of all the fantasy films, but I'm looking forward to going back and seeing this in 4K. So I got that.
Now, considering Legend Drop, the studio setting all fits into that fantasy realm that it presented,
Yeah, totally. Because
the makeup was great.
Yeah, they were these big studio movies, so they were competently made. There was also a lot of really low-budget ones, like Deathstalker and the Eagle, those Eagle movies, and then like You're the Hunter from the Future. And then, of course, I got a box from Second Sight.
Me too, Rob.
I know you did. Now, one you've already shown. I did get my Nice Guys.
Nice.
Which, see, the thing with Second Sight is they wait when you order. They don't just send them to you. If you've ordered more than one, they'll just wait till all your things to cut down on shipping, which is nice. So thank you. You've already shown this Nice Guy. But again, another great set, a great movie. Go Shane Black.
Great movie.
Very happy to have this in my collection. Then another movie that is a banger. That's great to have their version of it, because even if Second Sight, they always give you the best picture possible. Where Evil Lurks. You know what's up. Come on.
Correct.
And again, a great, they do the art cards, the box sets, the definitive collection of essays. Yeah, I mean, and if you haven't seen this movie, what's wrong with you?
What's wrong with you?
This movie is great.
Because from the get-go, Rob, I was in. If you give me a movie that pulls me in the first 5 minutes, shot in the forest, what has happened,
Unholy heavy metal horror. That's exactly what this movie is. Great book. This book is great.
Rob, that scene with the damn dog, you know what was coming. and I jumped, but I jumped nevertheless. Even if I knew, get away from that dog. Please get away from the dog.
And in terms of demonic possession movies, this takes demonic possession into a new, very interesting realm. So, love this movie. Again, it made it double dipping. Happy to do it. Can't wait to look at this version of the movie. I love this movie so much.
Awesome.
Had to get the second sight version. And then finally, we were talking trilogy. Now, so we see what Second Sight was unable to deliver, which was X for the X Maxine and Pearl, or X Pearl and Maxine trilogy. But they were able to give us Nicholas Winding Refn's Pusher, which I'm sure that you also have. There's nothing like feeling. I almost get a sense of
even the smell. The smell.
These are touching these, running your fingers across these. Just tickling. There's a physiological reaction with a Second Sight box, if you know what I'm saying, and I know you do. Great set. This is another great set. It's got, as you would say, a really cool diggy. It opens up.
Correct, Rob. German pronunciation. Sorry.
The diggy. Which is, I'm kind of OCD. Like all of these, these faces, they're kind of upside down. I like it when my,
and a pretty thick book. Actually.
Yeah, when the discs, all the heads are right side up. So thank you for that. Before Nicholas Winding Refn got totally pretentious, and interviewed William Friedkin, which, by the way, I recommend all of you watch. So. Again, a great set from Second Sight, and I'm happy to have it. And
it's Mikkelsen.
Yes, and that is my that's my haul for
I got the third one.
2 weeks.
I got the third one from Second Sight, Rob.
Oh, you did?
Speaking of Pearl and Maxine from Ty West, I've got, because I love the movie, The Innkeepers from him.
Nice.
So this was the third one that was in my package that they delivered.
Fantastic. Is that a 4K or is that just a Blu-ray?
Yeah, correct, Rob. It is a 4K and the Blu-ray of the movie. And I remember loving the movie, but I haven't seen it in forever.
Forever, Vinny.
Really nice one. Book, and of course the only art cuts, the only thing, Rob, what Second Sight has still to learn from Umbrella, make the slip smaller. I had to cut.
Right.
I had to cut it.
You know what? I'm gonna tell you something. I don't keep the slips for.
We know that, Rob.
Discs.
We know that.
I don't keep them.
Except from the Umbrella sets, Rob, because they are fitting.
Well, but the Umbrella sets also have the numbers on them.
Correct.
But the Second Sights don't.
Yeah.
So I don't care.
So I still have one more item to show, Rob, and then I'm through 2. And this disappointed me, unfortunately, Rob, because I was hoping, we're coming to music, because I already own the album with a great 5.1 track, and now that famous album got a Dolby Atmos track. So I was thinking that great 5.1 mix that I already knew would be perhaps the basis for that new famous album, number 4. It came out here. It's a multiple CD set and with a Blu-ray for it. So we have 3 CDs, book part about the famous album, and of course in the back we have the Blu-ray with the Atmos mix, Rob. And if you never heard the album in a 5.1 mix, you would say, or in a Dolby Atmos mix, you would say, oh, it's good, not bad, really nice. But I go back, Rob, to my old DVD audio that I have of the album. We have HD DVD, Blu-ray, and we had DVD audio versus SA CD. There was a battle there too. And this was a DVD audio unfortunately out of print, and you had to have a player that actually plays the DVD audio part. But you can, and I always remember, Rob, buying that in the shopping mall, not bought it online, in the shopping mall, and the female cashier told me, and I was totally surprised, Rob. She told me, you can't play this one in a CD player because you were thinking it's music, and I was totally surprised that she mentioned that to me because I was aware that this is a DVD audio. But she made me aware. You can play this. You know that you can play this in a CD player. I said, yeah, I know it. And this comes if you put it in a DVD player with a Dolby Digital 5.1 track. But if you have an Oppo player or some model like this, you can choose the DVD audio part, which is uncompressed 5.1 PCM, and this mix, Rob, blows that Dolby Atmos mix still out of the water. So I was very disappointed, actually, Rob, with this new edition. If I hadn't known that one, I would be fine with it. But this is still the go-to, considering the album of Foreigner 4. But this is, of course, out of print for the longest time. This was my last one, Rob.
Well, that is very, very, very exciting. And I'm trying to, I was trying to find one more thing here that I forgot to bring in the news because I wanted to talk about it.
Yeah.
But we haven't got to...
Considering just, Rob, over the 14 days, what I have seen, Rob, don't sleep on the cat from 88 films. I've seen it. It's from the director who did Story of Ricky, Rob.
Oh, my God.
It's bonkers, Rob. Don't read anything about it, Rob. Go, if you can, go in blind, Rob. It is a strange, bizarre, bonkers mix. But don't sleep on this one, Rob. Don't sleep on this one.
Okay.
It's like recommendation. It's from the director of Story of Ricky.
I will not sleep on that.
The cat. Yeah.
So,
and don't forget, Rob. I totally forgot, Rob. I told you about this 14 days ago, and I checked it. It's actually true. If you put this in the Code B player, it plays the censored version for the UK. We have some animal stuff in it. But if you put it in a Code A player, it plays the uncensored version. It's not much. It's 16 seconds, but the US version in a Code A player is 16 seconds longer. So if you buy it, Rob, and you put it in your multiplayer, don't forget, put it on Code A when you put it in. Because it has the Code A and B logo, actually. Yeah. Reminder, but I checked it, Rob. It's really true. If you put it in a Code A player, it plays the uncensored version. And there is even a Japanese cut of the movie, but not really a Japanese cut. It's the same movie, but a Japanese version, which is longer, but it's not the same. But it's just standard quality, so I just skip through it. Really, really bizarre. But don't sleep on the cat, Rob. Bonkers. Nice double bill with robotics.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but totally different. Not nudity, but totally different, but in the same kind of bonkers.
Wow. Well, there you go. Now, should we go to the news? I mean...
Yeah. Rob.
Okay, I got to tell you. So I had a little bit of... as the world is falling apart, missing out on physical media is not probably at the top of people's...
No.
They don't care.
Yeah.
However, I believe that the world is a continuum. And at any one time, the most horrible things in the world are happening, and the greatest things in the world are happening. And we have to somehow figure out in our inimitable way, our human way, how can we exist in a world when the very worst things that humanity can do or the very worst things the universe has in store is also happening at the same time, when the most wonderful things like the birth of new life is happening, or people fall in love, or a great piece of art is created. It's all happening at the same time. It's all happening, as they said in Almost Famous. So, sometimes things that are, that are inconsequential to most people can be earth-shattering to an individual. And that happened to me this week, Dietz.
Okay. Tell me about
That happened to me this week. So, as everyone knows, or maybe you don't, I love Super Deluxe Edition, SDE.
Yeah.
And what Super Deluxe Edition is it's a company that releases old albums remixed by some of the best producers in the world into Dolby Atmos. And then they add extra tracks, and they're not the only company that releases albums. A lot of other companies, Rhino releases a lot of stuff that's on. Yep. But the Super Deluxe Edition series has their own. They released 49.
Is it that Rhino, Rob? Is it that Rhino?
Yeah, that's Rhino. They put out stuff. Yeah, that's Rhino. Rhino's a record label. But Super Deluxe Edition is its own thing. And they had released 49 special editions that are exclusive to Super Deluxe Edition. A lot of them I'm not necessarily interested in, but some, there are things that Super Deluxe Edition has released that I'm very interested in, like Wham!
I think you know what will be coming now.
Okay,
I think
so
I read some news.
They had their 50th release drop. Now, before I say what it is, I got to go back to the 80s. Now, I was a fiend. When I say I was a fiend for 12 inches, I hope you take that in what I mean. I mean 12-inch vinyl.
Maxi singles.
12 maxi singles. I loved remixes. Not because I was a size queen, just because I loved remixes of.
They were pretty common, actually, Rob. Considering hit singles, every hit single got a longer version.
Yeah, a lot of stuff, and I was mostly interested in British imports. Like, for instance, New Order's Blue Monday was at first, it never appeared on an album until the Greatest Hits, I think in '87 when they released that. So when Power, Corruption, and Lies, the New Order album came out, that's when they released Blue Monday, but it was only released as a 12-inch remix. By far, the band that captured my imagination as far as their music and in terms of their 12-inch remixes, because they took 12-inch remixes to the next level, it was Frankie Goes to Hollywood. And everybody remembers Relax. But Two Tribes, War, which is a remake of Edwin's, they were done and they were put out under the great Trevor Horn, one of my favorite producers, his label ZTT, Zang Tum Tum. The ZTT record label put out and Frankie Goes to Hollywood, they released 100 different versions of these 12 inches. They had the Habakusha mix, they had all this stuff, and you could get 7-inch singles, you could get 12-inch singles, Frankie Goes to Hollywood only made 2 albums. They made Welcome to the Pleasure Dome, and they made Liverpool. And that was it. And I actually liked both albums quite a bit. But when Welcome to the Pleasure Dome came out, I was all over it. It was a double album. They had remixes of weird songs, like they did a version of Bruce Springsteen's Born to Run that's actually pretty good. They did Ferry Cross the Mersey. But they had all these. I was a total Frankie Goes to Hollywood acolyte. And of course, they ended up playing themselves in Brian De Palma's Body Double. How cool is that? But it was their production that I loved. And ZTT had more bands on it. They had the German synth band Propaganda on their label as well, with Claudia Brücken starring and in it. She's the lead singer. And then she was in another band called Act. But so this week, Super Deluxe Edition released three different versions of Frankie Goes to Hollywood's Welcome to the Pleasure Dome as their 50th release. Now, I didn't know that it was dropping this week. And one of this week it dropped this week. One of the versions of Frankie Goes to Hollywood was a Super Deluxe Edition with B-sides, with radio versions, And I've got a huge backlog of Frankie Goes to Hollywood stuff. I got all the CDs. Well, guess what schmuck missed out because he didn't know. So the big super deluxe version of Welcome to the Pleasure Dome with all the different remixes and everything, this guy, I fucking missed out. I didn't know it dropped. It's not even, I don't even think it's on the super deluxe website anymore. It was gone.
Let me just look, Rob, here, where I have the German news. Boom.
I cried. I was angry.
The deluxe edition is still, at the moment, Rob, if this is the same super deluxe, is available at Amazon Germany.
Okay, now
I
hang
sent
on.
you the link, Rob.
Does it have multiple discs in it?
It's
This-
4-disc set, Rob. No, it's a 7-disc set.
That's it.
It's a 7-disc set plus the Blu-ray audio, so 8, actually.
And
8.
it's Amazon
Actually-
Germany right now?
Yeah.
Okay,
Correct.
hang on.
Welcome to the.
I was
to the
so upset. You can't even know how upset I was. I was very, very upset that I didn't get this. However, all was not lost because I did order their normal Super Deluxe edition with the alternate sleeve. So here it is. Now, for me, I mean, most people don't care, but I just want you to know, in my movie Free Enterprise, I went and got
wanted to bring it up, but okay.
Don't want to
Here we
bring it
go.
up, but Frankie Goes to Hollywood's Welcome to the Pleasure Dome is in the movie. You know, I had to represent, and that's what I wanted. And of course, it's during a scene where the character of Rob is going down on a woman while he's driving. That's a true story. And where else would you put a song from Frankie Goes to Hollywood but in a scene like that? And
Rob, was the price tag for the track not too steep back in the day? when you
it cost
wanted to use it?
$10,000. It was $10,000. So there were 4 tracks, if you want to know how movies are made. So when I made Free Enterprise, because I edited the film, directed it, and co-wrote it, I got to put whatever music I wanted to put into it. So I put all of my favorite 80s music and 90s music in the movie. Our budget, we shot the movie for like $600,000. So you get music for the festival version. And then if you sell the movie, then you have to go back and renegotiate for the music rights. Yeah. When we had interest in distribution for Free Enterprise, we had to go back and renegotiate the music rights. For the music alone that I had put in Free Enterprise, the budget came back. All of the music I used would cost $1.5 million. So I
Easy
didn't.
peasy. Not a Schnäppchen, Rob. Not
I
a Schnäppchen.
did not. Needless to say, I did not have $1.5 million.
Yeah.
We did not have. I mean, that's
10K
almost.
is a Schnäppchen, Rob. To use Frankie Goes to Hollywood, 10K is a Schnäppchen.
That's almost 3 times what the movie cost to actually shoot, not to finish in post, but to shoot. So we had a record deal. Spring Aspers, our music supervisor, who's now a big mucky muck in the music world, she was my great music supervisor. We made a deal with Network Records out of Canada, Network America, and Network America said, okay, we'll give you $50,000 for your soundtrack album. You have $50,000 to spend. And I'm like, great, I have $50,000 to spend. And then they're like, but in order for the soundtrack album to work, we need 4 of your songs. So we need Frankie Goes to Hollywood's Welcome to the Pleasure Dome. We need Duran Duran's Planet Earth, the night version. We need the Cult's She Sells Sanctuary, the long version. And we need Shriekback's Underwater Boys. And each one of those songs cost us $10,000. So because they wanted them for the soundtrack album. So I had $10,000 left, and then our music budget in the budget for the film was also another $50,000. So I had to figure out, how could I get like 30 more tracks of music for $60,000? And it was difficult. But I got a really cool Sarah McLachlan song from our this band called Manufacture. Yeah. Anyway, that's a whole thing. But Frankie Goes to Hollywood is near and dear to my heart. The production, Trevor Horn's work, the remixes, to me it represents the pinnacle of my high school career in terms of the music I was interested in and tracking down all the remixes. So anyway, I was able, now you're just telling me I guess I'll have to go to Amazon Germany and get what I really want. What I really, really want.
Or just look internationally, Rob.
Yeah, I'll have to look internationally because it is international. So here's the one that I got that you can still order. It is the deluxe edition. Now, what's really interesting is they have a new remix of Welcome to the Pleasure Dome that's 30 minutes long. I can't wait. And the thing is, it's not like these are expensive either. I mean, they're kind of expensive, but they're not that expensive.
And actually, Rob, I'm pretty happy that you informed me about this separate release, because that Super Deluxe Edition, for me, because I'm only interested actually in the Blu-ray with the Atmos track, is too expensive for me. But this is the nice option for me, actually.
Yeah, and you can go get it, and they've got the 30-minute track. Now, what was interesting was they also announced that they were going to drop their number 51, their Super Deluxe Edition number 51, and it was a mystery track. And they said if you want to risk it, you can buy Frankie Goes to Hollywood's Welcome to the Pleasure Dome and buy their mystery track. And I'm like, well, of course I got to do that. Click. So I didn't know what it was. And then I should have known because what would they put out? Of course, it was the most obvious thing in the world if you're not paying attention. If you were paying attention, what would go along with Frankie Goes to Hollywood? Well, it is, in fact, the German band Propaganda and their album A Secret Wish, which also is a ZTT production. Propaganda was put out on ZTT by Trevor Horn, produced by Trevor Horn. This album is also a banger. It's got Dr. Mabusa on it. This is a great, great, great record. And obviously, Super Deluxe Edition, and also Claudia Brücken is the vocalist. And Claudia Brücken, they just put out her new solo album. They put out Propaganda. Propaganda kind of got back together, and they did an album that was one of the first Super Deluxe Edition records that immediately sold out. So, Propaganda's A Secret Wish, which is another fucking phenomenal 80s record. And the Atmos mixes of Claudia Brücken's album and Propaganda that Super Deluxe Edition already did are my friend Clark Von Trotha up in Portland, I went to his house, and he's got tens of thousands of dollars worth of incredible audio equipment. His speakers are unbelievable. We watched the Mario Bava Planet of the Vampires disc on his system. But his Atmos surround system I've never heard anything like it. It's absolutely insane. And he played me some of that Propaganda disc, and it is unbelievable. It also made me want to go get speakers that are $20,000 each, because you get what you pay for. Anyway, I know that this has gone on, and we've probably lost our entire viewership. But let me just say, these two things. This was the. Now you can't get them. You have to wait months. You
Holy Grail this week, Rob.
To get that, now I got to go get the extended Super Deluxe Edition from the website in Germany. But I can't tell you.
Or just look Amazon internationally, Rob. Not only German, perhaps. How the prices are.
It doesn't matter.
Normally has good prices.
I have to have it.
I'll send you the link, Rob.
It's great stuff. Anyway, so excited. I mean, the thing that I wanted most in Dolby Atmos, and there's been some things mixed, is Frankie Goes to Hollywood. And now, before I die, it's more music that's more than 40 years old. I'm still buying. But so I recommend Super Deluxe Edition to anybody who's interested in those. And they're very collectible, and they're hard to get, and now because they sell out quickly. But they've got like some Elton John stuff up, and they've done so many great records. One of the ones I missed was Brothers in Arms, Dire Straits' Brothers in Arms. And you can go get them from other places, but anyway.
But Brothers in Arms was released back in the day as a Super Audio CD, Rob. I think that's still available.
Yeah, you can get that.
It's great.
Yeah. So now, back to our show, when I'm pontificating about my desires, dreams, hopes, and fantasies. Yeah. I'm done with that. Let's talk about what's in the news. Okay. One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. We knew it was coming, The limited edition steelbook. There it is. I really actually love this artwork. It's great. One Flew of the Cuckoo's Nest, Milos Forman's wonderful, wonderful Oscar-winning film that Michael Douglas actually produced, even though he's not in it. One Flew of the Cuckoo's Nest, one of the great movies ever made, is finally coming out in 4K from Warner Brothers. You probably should buy it from the UK so you can get one. So that's exciting. And then, of course, we've got... This is pretty cool. Here's a limited edition 4K steelbook of F1 that I really love this.
Actually, my favorite motive. Because there are 3 steelbooks, Rob. You can give 3 variations of steelbook, at least here in international waters, let me just say. But this is my favorite.
It's really cool. I really like this. Really like this steelbook.
It's called the vintage one.
The vintage steelbook. Well, there you go. I mean, for you F1 fans, I love this because it looks like the old John Player special from the '70s that I grew up with. That car.
Do we know actually, Rob, anything about the aspect ratio when it comes out?
I think it is supposed to be changing. I think the aspect ratio is, in fact, but I'm not sure. I just love the fact that why is this significant? This is significant because Apple teamed up with Warner Brothers to release this film, and this is coming out through Warner Brothers. So that is that's very exciting.
It's coming out October 7th in the States.
I think
and
so.
And it's not even yet out on Apple TV. Not yet.
No, I think that was probably part of the release of that.
Okay.
And then, of course, we have Criterion's. We didn't talk about the new Criterion releases for December. Pretty banger lineup. Starting with His Girl Friday, Howard Hawks. I mean, this is one of the great, again, Rosalind Russell and Cary Grant in one of the most entertaining movies of the era. What a great, I mean, this is fantastic to get this. Very, very excited to get this. And, of course, this is coming out in 4K. What a great movie. Love it. Can't wait to get it. You go, Criterion. Then there's this, a Powell and Pressburger movie I have never seen. I know where I'm going. Okay. I have never seen this movie. I mean, of course, I've seen, Tales of Hoffman and The Red Shoes, but I've never seen this. Love flourishes in the Scottish Highlands in this windswept enchantment from British cinema's most passionate visionaries, Michael Powell and Emmerich Pressburger. And it's a new 4K restoration by the BFI archive, so it's probably coming out from BFI, I would imagine. So now it says a new 4K restoration. I would imagine it is coming out in 4K. So that's very cool, and I'm very, very excited to get this because I've never seen it. So it's Powell and Pressburger. Then Return to Reason. This interests me because my mom had gone to the artist Man Ray, had done some exhibition, and there was a framed poster in our house, a Man Ray exhibition poster. So I'm curious. I've never seen this. The swirling surrealist dreams of Man Ray are high watermarks of 1920s avant-garde cinema, a nexus of cryptic themes, dark eroticism, and playful abstraction, seemingly plucked from an unconscious realm. These are 4 shorts packaged together, and they are new 4K restorations of all of them, and with a score by Squirrel. So interviews with Jim Jarmusch and Carter Logan from the avant-garde band Squirrel. And so there you go. And there's a 2023 concert featuring the band Squirrel. So they did an improvised score to Man Ray's film. So this is really cool. And there you go. And then, of course, Mira Nair, the mom for probably the next mayor of New York that everybody loves so much. Salam Bombay by Mira Nair is coming out in 4K. So that's pretty exciting. You don't need to know about this. This is actually a wonderful film, even if, your son is a Marxist and shouldn't be the mayor of New York. But what do I have to say about that? And then, of course, Pee-wee's Big Adventure. Warner Brothers licensing out their titles to both Shout, well, not just both, Shout, Criterion, and why am I drawing a blank on the next? Oh, and to Arrow. So Warner Brothers has released a lot of their back catalog that they haven't released yet to all these boutique agencies or labels, and this is another example. We get Altered States in October. We're getting Pee-wee's Big Adventure in 4K. What a great cover this is. Of course, Tim Burton's debut feature. Excited to get this from Criterion. I never thought I would see a movie like this in Criterion, but it's amazing. So, yeah.
A little bit outside of their usual forte.
It's wild. And then another thing that's pretty wild is the David Byrne's American Utopia. This is a documentary about the Broadway adaptation of David Byrne's American Utopia tour. And you know who directed this? Spike Lee. And so this is another interesting film to get. I think great lineup. I love David Byrne. You know, with A24 releasing Stop Making Sense in that great 4K version and getting this, well, he's definitely well represented. So there you go, David Byrne. That's Criterion's slate for December. Now we go on to Warner Archive, and they have quite the eclectic slate. Robert Mitchum, Elizabeth Scott, and Robert Ryan in The Racket. And this is a Howard Hughes presentation. So I've never seen this. So I would definitely want to see this. The Racket, Nick Scanlon is an old-fashioned kind of gangster. If someone crosses you, you settle it with a fist or a bullet. So Tom McQuigg, Robert Mitchum, is an old-fashioned kind of cop. Grab the bad guy, not the bribe. But they are both living in a corrupt new world on both sides of the law. So, hey, I'm in. Count me in.
Should be
The
in
Racket.
Max's wheelhouse too.
Max will probably opine on this,
Yeah.
and I can't wait to hear what he has to say. Then we have Rafferty and the Gold Dust Twins. Now this is crazy. So Alan Arkin is in this movie, a lonely ex-Marine adrift. I've seen this movie, actually. In the Sea of Humanity known as Los Angeles. In the morning, he leaves his rundown apartment and drives his beat-up old car to a boring, mind-numbing job. But today is going to be different when Gunny meets two footloose female drifters, Mac and Frisbee. Sally Kellerman and Mackenzie Phillips. Stop me right there. Sally Kellerman from, of course, the Star Trek pilot where no man has gone before. Mackenzie Phillips from our favorite sitcom, who cajole him into taking a road trip to New Orleans. So there you go. This is actually a lot of fun. This is a movie you don't ever hear talked about ever anymore, and Warner Archive is putting it out. So, hey, that's exciting. Then Lovely to Look At, another MGM Technicolor musical spectacle. What's not to love there? Don't know anything about it. A Summer Place. I mean, George Feltenstein, you know, he always tells me, well, whatever's in the process we put out first, but I can't. George Feltenstein has great taste. Troy Donahue and Sandra Dee as two young lovers whose relationships catalyzes the end of their parents' marriages. So, hey, what's not to love about this? A product of its time, but man, a movie you'll all love. And then, of course, Master of, Ballantrae. I don't know anything about this, but it's an Errol Flynn movie.
Errol Flynn.
The greatest of the swashbuckling stars triumphs again in The Master of Ballantrae, his final swashbuckling adventure for Warner Brothers. It's not in the box set, but what's not to love about this? Gotta get it. Then you have the Ida Lupino movie Out of the Fog coming out, which I don't know about. I've never seen either, but Ida Lupino's great, and she must have been under contract to Warner Brothers because they put out a lot of these, so it's great to get that. And it's John Garfield, too, who I love. And this is an adaptation of Irwin Shaw's play, The Gentle People. And so there you go. That's coming. And then after that...
But wasn't it back in the day, Rob, that actors were more tied to a specific studio?
Yes,
for a longer time?
they were under contract.
Yeah.
So Ida Lupino must have done a lot for Warner Brothers. Then, of course, Barbara Stanwyck and Henry Fonda, The Mad Miss Manton. What's not to love here? It's a zany screwball comedy, and Barbara Stanwyck stars as a dizzy heiress and her manicured band of Park Avenue pranksters. Think Manhattan is an amusement park built just for them. I'm sure this movie is absolutely delightful. So looking forward to that. Henry Fonda and Barbara Stanwyck. You can't go wrong with that cast. And then, of course, Manhattan melodrama, a David O. Selznick production. Myrna Loy, William Powell, and Clark Gable. Come on, look at this cast. I'm sure this movie looks fantastic. It's another MGM movie. And what's not to love? Manhattan Melodrama has a special place in movie lore. It is the film Notorious Gangster It is the film Notorious Gangster John Dillinger saw with his mysterious lady in red before exiting the theater and walking right into an FBI ambush. Even without that momentous historical footnote, Manhattan Melodrama would be a film to reckon with because Clark Gable, William Powell, and Myrna Loy, three of the greatest stars ever to shine in the MGM heavens, bring to memorable screen life this Oscar-winning best original story about boyhood pals who end up on opposite sides of the law and who fall for the same woman. Count me in. And then, of course, we come to it at last. Another 4K box set, their first box set, The Curse of Frankenstein. We know that Hammer Films is doing their own version on the other side of the hill. Yeah. But, of course, they're doing it in conjunction with Warner Archive. Look at this artwork. I love this artwork. You go, George Feltenstein. This artwork is great. And, again, I love this movie. This is one of the great Hammer horror films of all time. You've got two choices. I mean, the Hammer box from the UK will take you 10,000 years to get all the way through because I'm sure they're going to give you 100 discs and everything. But Warner Archive is more manageable, both on your shelf and for your time. But I bet this looks great. This is a great film. Everybody should have it in their collection. So there you go. Warner Archive's Curse of Frankenstein. But it does put you in that conundrum space where who do you go with? Do you go with Hammer in the UK is doing such a great job, or Warner Archive? It really depends on how much money you want to spend on something and how much of the film, I guess. But Warner Archive has got you covered. Now check this out, dude. The Luc Besson box set.
Yeah.
Oh, are you sighing already?
Yeah, because Rob, we already perhaps as
have all
nice
these movies
as it looks. Correct, Rob. You said it.
We've got half these movies, but
it's box if you don't own any of those movies.
Yeah, if you don't. But Le Dernier Combat, I hope they release these individually because I really want The Last Combat, which is his first feature film, and I don't have it. I hope it's not the only way to get this because the other stuff we've already got. Like I've got multiple. How many times you bought The Professional? But then again, the Big Blue and Atlantic are in this, so I have a blue.
My eyes will be peeled on it for a snap.
Yeah, a snap. You're right, but who doesn't love Luc Besson movies? And it's a great set. And then of course we've got this coming out from Warner Archive. I don't know why my picture of this. Why is it not big? But a Tom and Jerry set from Warner Archive. You got to love these. So there you go. Tom and Jerry coming out. Another Warner Archive title. I forgot to put it together. But hey, what's not to love if you love Tom and Jerry? Another great box set from Warner Archive. Then, of course, this is wild. So here we have... this comes from, not Cape Light. What is the name of this company? Help me out. I mean, even though you don't know what I mean.
You're on the front.
I'll tell you what studio this is from. This so collection. Sorry, it is. This is. What am I not seeing here? Why am I not getting this? Hang on. Sandpiper. This is Sandpiper's upcoming release slate. Sandpiper's upcoming release slate. Here, look at this. These are like Mannequin, Zapped. Yeah. Then we're getting Vinegar Syndrome just released this, but we're getting the theatrical version of Dirty Work. The Stephen King story, Sometimes They Come Back. Stagecoach, I think from the 70s. And then, of course, Undercover Blues. And, of course, Robert Townsend's Meteor Man. That's a wacky bunch of titles. I mean, I got to say that, you know, I don't know how many of these I would buy. But, hey, if you're an 80s film fan, what's not to love, I guess? You know, that's exciting. So, there you go. If you want to get any of those titles, I'd maybe pick up Meteor Man. I don't have Meteor Man. And then we go to Def Leppard, dude. You gonna buy this?
Oh, nice.
Def Leppard. Yes. This is the Diamond Star Heroes.
If this is a new concept or if it's a re-release just in 4K.
This is the Mercury Studios has announced it will release on 4K Blu-ray and Blu-ray 2 CD set. Def Leppard, Diamond Star Heroes live from Sheffield.
Okay.
And this Blu-ray will be the band's first 4K release and includes one night only live at the Lead Mill, previously released last year. And this is marking the start of their co-headlining European tour with Motley Crue. This concert was from May 22nd, 2023.
Oh, not that long ago.
Yeah, so there you go. I figured you might like it. And then, of course, Happy Hell Night is coming out. Again, I don't know much about Happy Hell Night, but TerrorVision is preparing a 4K Blu-ray release of this movie. Happy Hell Night is actually, when did this come out? It's from 1992. On Halloween night, 1965, disgraced Catholic priest Zachary Malleus brutally slaughtered 7 fraternity pledges after they desecrated his family's crypt during an occult invocation. Declared insane and committed to an asylum, Malleus became a dark legend spoken of in whispers at Winfield College. The sole survivor of that massacre, Henry Collins, never forgot the horror. Hey, I don't know anything about this movie. I'm sure somebody does. I wonder if it's good. It's coming out with Dolby Vision and HDR in the 4K disc. So there you go. Happy Hell Night. I don't know anything about this, but the cover's not great. You got to do something more with that. Then, of course, Kino Lorber is going to deliver, I'm sure, what you want, Dieter. The Barbarian Brothers. That's right. The Barbarian Brothers in The Barbarians. I have to tell you, this is not a great movie. And I'm happy Kino Lorber is going to give a special edition for people who want it. This comes out. This came out originally in the same year that Masters of the Universe came out, 1987. And it stars Peter and David Paul, the Barbarian Brothers, Richard Lynch, Eva LaRue, and Michael Berryman. So there you go. If that's what you are interested in, I want you to have it. So there you go. BFI is putting out what they previously released Down Under. Georges Franju's Eyes Without a Face, one of the greatest horror films ever made. I love this movie. I already bought the 4K from Umbrella, so I probably won't get it. But it's coming out from BFI, and a lot of people did not get the Umbrella release, and this is something that you need. What a great movie. So that's exciting. And then we have Imprint is putting out Silent Night, Deadly Night 1 and 2 in a big 4K box set. You go, Imprint. Coming to you from the Men Down Under, which is awesome. Then we get a movie that I think should get treated better than this. The 40th anniversary of Out of Africa. This is obviously the UK cover, but it is coming out. The UK. I love this movie. I will unapologetically buy Out of Africa. You know, it's Sidney Pollack directed it. It's got a great John Barry score. It's a big romance with the Street Monster and Robert Redford. What is not to love? I like this movie. I remember my mom took me to see this movie, and we both loved it. So I've owned this movie on Laserdisc. It's good. I'll get it. Why not? Nice. 40th anniversary. And then we have Look at This. This is an interesting release. This is Boston Kickout, a movie, I got to tell you, I don't know anything about this fucking movie, to be honest.
Me neither. Cat in the Bag. Totally.
Cat in the Bag, Boston Kickout, and this is coming from Britain's Screenbound Pictures. This is from 1995. It is Paul Hill's Boston Kickout, starring Andrew Lincoln, yes, of Walking Dead fame. Andrew Lincoln, Emma McCourt, John Sim, Mark Warren, and Paul Hills, and this release is scheduled to arrive on November 3rd, and I don't know, well, to be honest, anything at all about this. And, what can I say? What can I tell you? Boston Kickout. Don't know.
Okay.
But it looks like it's a great set, so somebody thinks it's great. Then we have Laurel and Hardy, Year 3, the newly restored shorts from 1929. Flickr Alley puts these out, and it's great that they're doing that. So that's pretty cool. If you like Laurel and Hardy, all these things saved for posterity. Then, of course, we have from Kino Lorber, the Ninja Trilogy. And you probably bought them if you love these movies, but now you can get them in a box set. Revenge of the Ninja, and, of course, Ninja 3, which everybody needs.
The Domination. The
Domination, which is what a movie. And then, of course, the original Enter the Ninja in a box set. What is not to love? I mean, Enter the Ninja has Franco Nero in it. Yeah. I mean, Susan George.
And the Domination, Rob, is pretty beloved in the so bad it's good category.
Yeah, and of course, the original Enter the Ninja has the wonderful Sho Kazuki in it. And Kazuki, if you know your Godzilla song. And then we've got Catch-22 finally coming out from Scream Factory in a 4K disc. Mike Nichols, of course, great satire. Catch-22 coming out. If you want it, it's there for you. And then we have the How the Grinch Stole Christmas in a 25th anniversary edition coming out in 4K. Ron Howard's and of course, our favorite Jim Carrey playing the Grinch. That's coming out. And then we've got this coming from Discotheque, Galaxy Express 999. If you saw the movie, you know what this is. Part of the Queen Emeraldis and Captain Harlock universe.
Over 100 episodes. Episodes 1 to 113.
Mm-hmm. What's not to love, buddy? I'm going to get this. Yeah. I love Galaxy Express. I love that universe. Matsumoto Leiji. It's great stuff. And then we've got Android Kakaider. That's coming out. And then we've got The Happiness of the Katakuris, which is a wacky movie directed by... It's Takashi Miike, right? Isn't it?
Oh, okay. Didn't know that.
I think so. Isn't it? Yeah. Am I wrong? Hang on.
I have no idea, Rob. It could be. Sometimes he makes something for the family.
Yeah, it is. It's Takashi Miike's movie.
From when movie, Rob?
It's a family. Oh, what year? Let me see if it says the year.
Could be a newer one.
It doesn't say. It's his viscerally surreal horror musical. Jam-packed with a whole chorus of special features presented in the original Japanese. Yeah, I don't remember when this came out. I don't remember. And then, of course,
considering the output that Takeshi has every year.
Oh yeah, and then of course, I don't know this at all, but this is also coming out from Discotheque. They put out a lot of anime stuff. So hey,
yeah.
And then, of course, we have this. Ilsa. She-Wolf of the SS is coming, but now we've got Ilsa Harem, Keeper of the Oil Sheiks. Not as good, but still, hey, you got to have your Ilsa movies. And, of course, Kino Lorber is putting this out. I'm sure they're going to get to all of them, and then we'll get the Ilsa box set. They're putting it out as part of their Kino Cult releases. Yeah. I don't know what the spine number is. 21, there you go.
41.
Oh, is it 41?
41.
Well, that's good. Then we've got, of course, the 25th anniversary of U571, although I forgot to put that up. That's coming out. Yeah. It's coming out. And then, of course, from Lionsgate, Hider in the House. This is interesting that they're putting out Hider in the House. Actually, from the time that I did the news, they've added some things to the news. So I have missed out on them. So I just want to say that Frightmare is coming out from Kino Lorber. I didn't put this in the news because they've added this since I put these up yesterday. Frightful White Fingers is coming out from 88 Films from 1972. So I apologize. And Howard's End is coming out in 4K. I don't have pictures for those because they were put in the news today and they weren't here yesterday. So I apologize for that. What I do have for you now is Hider in the House. Lionsgate Home Entertainment and Vestron are putting this out. as a Blu-ray from 1989. Gary Busey, Mimi Rogers, Michael McKean in Hider in the House. When Julie and Phil Dreyer, Daytime Emmy nominee Mimi Rogers and Oscar nominee Michael McKean and their 2 kids move into their dream house in an idyllic suburb. They have no idea it is about to become their worst nightmare. Unbeknownst to the Dryers, deranged criminal psychopath Tom Sykes, played by Gary Busey, released after 18 years in a mental institution for the brutal murder of his parents, has taken up residence in the attic of their recently built home. Obsessed with Julie and secretly stalking the unsuspecting family from within the house, Sykes unleashes a campaign of terror against anyone who stands in the way of the family he now claims as his own. A lot of good special features here, and that'll be coming out from Lionsgate and Vestron. So,
what do you want more, Gary Busey hiding in your attic?
I don't want that, but there you go. If you want
exactly.
it, you can have it. And then, of course, Imprint's putting out their own version of Jackie Brown, which is exciting. So they're putting that out. If you didn't get the Lionsgate Limited Steelbook. And then, of course, we've got Screamityville. Not Amityville, but Screamityville. Borderline Media is putting this out. This is from 2024. I just thought this was funny, and I don't know anything about it, and the description doesn't say anything either. But I like the cover, and I like it's called Screamityville. It makes me chuckle. And then Ted Lasso coming out, the entire series. Again, another Apple series coming to us on disc. This could be great that we're getting more Apple stuff, because where's For All Mankind, bastards? Give it to me. Give me what I want. Give me
Wait
what
for
I
the
really,
box
really
set
want.
drop until For All Mankind is finished.
Yeah, I know, but that means it's coming, which is great. By the way, I would like to volunteer myself and my services. I would like to do what we did for Star Trek The Next Generation and Enterprise for All Mankind. I had no desire, really, to go back to do special features. I did mention to producer Ron Moore about this. So I'm volunteering, not volunteering, you got to pay me well, but I would like to go and do what we did for the Star Trek The Next Generation Blu-rays with For All Mankind. I did talk to Ron Moore about this, and he's down. Just so you know, Apple, I didn't think I'd go back to doing DVD or Blu-ray special features, but I would for All Mankind. That's what I want to do. I am soliciting work from you live as we talk. But I really want to do the special features for All Mankind because it deserves it. And I'll give you a discount. A good discount. And then, of course, what else do we have coming out? You should never negotiate that way, kids. You should get what you deserve. Where are we? Where was I? I was at Screamityville, and I don't know where Screamityville is. So, Ted Lasso.
And you told us about the other releases? Yeah.
And then the British version of Dark Star. John Carpenter's first feature is coming out in the UK as a 4K disc. The very first videotape I ever bought after Halloween was Dark Star from VCI, and it's coming out. It's coming out in Europe, and you can get it. I think you can get this on Zavvi, I think, the big box set. It's got a big box set coming out, so definitely worth getting. Now let's look at the charts. Top-selling Blu-ray discs, Lilo and Stitch. Now this is all HD formats, so it's Blu-ray and 4K. How to Train Your Dragon, Karate Kid's Legends, Thunderbolts, The Accountant 2, what is that, Superman. The Superman box set, The Thing, The King of Kings. Interesting.
Oh, Angel Studios.
Sinners, and of course 1923, A Yellowstone Origin Story. So that's interesting. And then, of course, on 4K, we've got Superman, the Superman 5 film collection, which I have, of course, How to Train Your Dragon, The Thing, Karate Kid Legends, The Goonies, you don't have to buy that, The Shining, Thunderbolts, Monty Python and the Holy Grail, Jaws, and The Conjuring. I need to get those. There's a few in there I have to get. So there you go, Dietz. We have...
Still making money, Rob, The Conjuring, in the ancillary market.
Making money hand over fist. Do you want to do the live chat while I download Thomas Logan's graphics?
Yeah. Hello everyone. Who would have thought The Conjuring Last Rites would do that well at the box office? Probably no one.
Well,
that
anybody who
at that
looked
level.
into the box office of that franchise might.
Yeah, yeah. But that that insane amount, Rob, unbelievable. Kevin Wellburn, seen last rides, and it was excellent. Nice. Uh, V just says, Dietz, the face and sound of Germany. I don't hope so. With that accent, unbelievable. HV Christodot, anyone watched Twilight of the Warriors? Walled in. Yes,
Oh my
HV
God, so good.
Christodot. We have already talked about this movie and showed these very editions of it here on our show. Considering our last last time, Gary Benjo sandwich Worthington, is it me or is Rob in a blue room and Deeds in a yellow room? Because Rob had his great Laserdisc t-shirt on with his blue. I wear yellow and my yellow. Yeah, it was totally fitting. Each in his own style. Ellie, the final metamorphosis, says, I don't believe in Odenkirk being a badass. Actually, considering the first one, as always says, you have one thing that you need to believe in a movie, and I believed it considering nobody won. Dinos reviews. Alien Earth is entertaining in the wrong way. I think you're right when it comes to Alien Earth. BCH, Alien, but don't forget, this is from 2 weeks ago. Alien Earth is okay. I was a little bit bored by the last episode. A lesser remake of the original movie, so he's talking about episode 5, and we are already episode 7. Kane Legion, Alien Earth episode 5 was barely tolerable with that really insufferable crew. Walter Whiteburger, I mean, I'm liking the series so far, but I have questions. A lot of people do have questions. Justin Toner, I have to agree, episode 5 was the weakest so far for Alien Earth. Hope it picks up with episode 6 this week. Professor Deng, anybody saw Highest to Lowest? Yet such a forgettable Spike Lee films. I haven't seen that movie. It is on Apple TV. Rob, have you seen Highest to Lowest?
No, but I taught my friend Alvaro saw it, and
Yeah.
he wasn't that impressed.
Okay. Mr. Torrance says, just love you guys. Nice. AJ, original Airport was too much of a soap opera for me. Dinos reviews, I'm getting replacement discs for my old Superman set. You just have to show proof of purchase. Yeah, it's normal way that you need to do that. Professor Deng, is Soup 2 Donner cut better than the original cut? Actually, Professor Deng, I like, just with aliens, I like the theatrical version more.
I do too.
Ballard, that's why I always, because Rob, considering if you would watch the movies back to back, it doesn't work because you get, to get the same ending twice, would needed to be a little bit different.
Yeah.
Ballard, that's why I always pre-order at least 10 of anything. I assume most are getting returned for damage, considering sometimes your steelbook gets dented in package. Condo 007, guys, evening. How can I get a hold of the new 4K G.I. Jane being in the UK? You should be able to order it.
Isn't the G.I. Jane in Australia?
Yeah, in Australia. Yeah. Why can't you order it? Condo 007. It should be. You should be able to order it. John Mange, considering I wear my yellow shirt last time. Man, I can tell where his shirt ends and the chair begins. Man, that is a lot of yellow. Walter Whiteburger, the Netflix Lost in Space is fantastic, the series. And Memphis Kane says Lost in Space movie was way better than the Netflix show. So
Tom Jr. Jackson's calling me. He must be calling me about something on the show. What's up, dude?
Yeah.
Oh, you know what? That's a Dieter. You know what? Thank you for telling me that. That was a mistake.
Yeah, the entire audience is like, "Hey, the mute, we can't hear Dieter."
Well, thank you. Thanks for calling me. Hang on, let me get back to the show, but thank you.
All right.
I hit a button by accident. You need to start the live chat over.
Okay.
I
Okay.
apologize.
Wait, let me.
Thank you,
no
Tom
problem,
Jr. Jackson.
Because I was looking at my output here and it looks fine. It
Yeah,
looks fine to
this
me.
was a Stream Elements output. That was my mistake.
Okay. Let's go
Just start over.
back then to the beginning. You can take your dogs out for a little while, Rob.
No, it's okay.
Previously on Let's Get Physical Media 14 days ago, Brightstone Pictures, Eric von Schoer says, hello everyone. Who would have thought that The Conjuring, The Last Rites would do that well at the box office? Probably no one that it would do that well. Kevin Wellburn, seen The Last Rites, and it was excellent. We Dietz, the face and sound of Germany. That accent? Hopefully not. HV Christodot, anyone watched Twilight of the Warriors Walled In? Yes, we have. And we have shown the different
And we both like
editions. Yeah, certainly. Garage Bencher Sandwich Worthington, is it me or is Rob in a blue room and Dietz in a yellow room? Because we had matching colors considering our backdrop. The final metamorphosis, I don't believe in Odenkirk being a badass, but I was totally buying it, considering nobody in the first movie. Dinos reviews, Alien Earth is entertaining in the wrong way. BCH, Alien Earth is okay. I was a little bored by the last episode, a lesser remake of the original. Kane Legion, Alien Earth episode 5 was barely tolerable with that really insufferable crew. Walter Whitewalker, I mean, I'm liking the series so far, but I have questions. Justin Toner, I have to agree, episode 5 was the weakest so far for Alien Earth. Hope it picks up with episode 6. Professor Deng, anybody saw Highest to Lowest? Yet such a forgettable Spike Lee films. Professor Deng, I have not seen the movie. It is out on Apple TV+. Mr. Torrance just says, love you guys. AJ, original Airport was too much of a soap opera for me. Dinos Review says, I'm getting replacement disc for my old Superman set. Yes, you just have to show proof of purchase. Nice. Professor Deng, is Superman 2 Donner cut better than the original cut? I actually prefer, just with aliens, the theatrical version more. Barlord, that's why I always pre-order at least 10 of anything. I assume most are getting returned for damage, considering packaging, especially Amazon, is questionable. And you get some stuff sometimes damaged. Kanto 007, guys, evening. How can I get hold of the new 4K G.I. Jane being in the UK? You should be able to order it from Imprint pretty easily. John Monkey, man, I can tell where his shirt ends and that chair begins. Man, that is a lot of yellow because I was wearing a yellow shirt. My yellow, yeah, that was a lot of yellow. Walter Walker, the Netflix Lost in Space show is fantastic, but Memphis Kane says Lost in Space movie was way better than the Netflix show, though. Okay. Adventure Square, I don't have a 4K player and I'm still getting that new Tron release. Yeah, I'm in that same camp, Need to get that 4K release. I have a player, but, not a telly. Star Wars Lego Rob, I admire the love Dieter has for physical media. Thank you. That show didn't help on that front. Vixter, considering I told you the BFI for the Hidden Fortress, I was able to purchase it on a German website actually, but I couldn't purchase it from Amazon UK. And Vixter said, you should have asked me. I could have gone into the BFI shop. Okay, next time if I have problems, I will contact you. Pete and Card, hey gang, I've just finished watching Sketch, a good film, way better than Goonies. I have 1 or 2 issues with it, though. I just have seen the poster for it. Looks interesting, but I haven't seen it. HV Christodot, I heard Nightwatch 2 was awful. Collections seem to be the only way to get people to buy crappy sequels. HV Christodot, I beg to differ. The sequel is great. And to get both in a collection, for me, the sequel, that way later with the same people to do a sequel of the first one, For me, I loved it. Vixter asks me, how do you afford all this? Well, I'm sending Rob my bill, and he says, I'm not buying for the cheap trash. You can pay that for yourself. And then I'm like all the states in the world. I'm always in the red. Adventure Square. But those boxy covers won't be fitting in a sleeve. No, those will not get changed, obviously. But something like where it is. Where do I have it? Something like this. This will go into a sleeve. Dark Hierophant. I showed last 14 days ago that Captain Future book that I got, Rob. And Dark Hierophant wants to know, was Captain Future released in Europe? We never got it, I think. Dark Hierophant, I actually can't tell you if Captain Future was released internationally or under what name. I have no idea. You have to Google about it. Danzig 1979, considering, like I told you, Rob, I've working for 40 years now at my company. And Danzig 1979 says that can't be right. Dietz has been working for 40 years, which would put him around 55 to 60. He looks in his late 30s. Danzig, your check's in the mail. Mieli, no one can pronounce La Llorona, but Dieter knocks it out of the park. That must be a one. Sometimes a blind chicken finds a grain here in our show. Mas Hussein, forget James Gunn, the peacemaker. We now have Max Allen Collins, the pacemaker. Okay. Albinal. Yesterday I watched Max's recommendation Hitman. Quite a good movie, very gory, good picture quality. Definitely no mistake to buy that one. Oh, it's always nice if a recommendation comes through. Ryan Knight. Dieter, what do you tell your boss when asking for a raise because you want to buy the box set of Baby Assassins? You probably wouldn't care at all. Buy that however you can purchase. There I have it. Perhaps one of the most expensive stuff that I have bought this year, which I can't even understand because there are no English subtitles on the show. Major Chaija asks, our show, the show has integrity? Sometimes. Does Plato says, on the other side, I don't watch this show for its integrity. Mike T, Masters of the Universe was a fuck up, and they're going to fuck it up again by setting it on Earth. Well, fingers crossed, the new Masters of the Universe will be great. Albedal, I guess Dieter needs the whole hotel to store all his physical media. Yeah, that's why I'm asking Max to build on the ceiling. More rooms. Epic Starlord, much love. I learned something new and new topics I can share with my friends. It's always nice to know.
Unfortunately, half those topics you can't share in mixed company.
That's correct too, Rob. Castle Grayskull. When I get back to Germany, can I stay at your hotel? It's pretty small here, but if you want, but it's not a hotel. Considering sometimes we have technical issues, and Starlord says, close some windows, Rob. Albedal. As long as I get Ilsa on 4K, Rob showed it in the news section, nothing else matters. Danzig 1979, considering Max is putting out Maltese Falcon 2, maybe a few signed copies of the Return of the Maltese Falcon for a competition for the show.
That's a great idea. I know people. I can make that happen.
Yeah. Albedal. Let's Get Physical Media seems on its unavoidable way to replace Midnight Metal. That show can't be replaced. HV Christodon.
Wait a minute. We're not. This is not a replacement show for Midnight Metal.
No, we are our own thing. No,
there is going to be Midnight Metal can never be replaced, and until Dave Parker decides to come back to Midnight Metal, I'm not going to do it.
Yeah,
it's retired. But I will say this: I am going to be doing a new show that we're going to be calling the Forever Era, and I'm going to be doing that with Alvaro. And what we're going to be doing is talking about stuff that we love.
Nice.
And it's based on the idea that writer Theodore Sturgeon, Ted Sturgeon, Sturgeon's law is that 90% of everything is crap. And so we want to focus on the 10%.
But those 10%.
Yeah, and the thing is, the more time that is spent, that 10% gets bigger and bigger and bigger. So Alvaro and I are going to discuss what we love, things that we love, but not just media, not just movies, not just books, but it can be anything that we like. And we want it to be a show about positivity, and hopefully people can discover things that we love that they don't know about yet.
Yeah.
So there you go.
HV Christodot. Hardboiled is an all-time favorite and one of my most needed Blu-ray upgrades for all of us. Rulath, I like Platoon, Savages, and Wall Street, but not really a fan of Oliver Stone. But you already have 3 great ones here. Brian Knight. Robert, I have a burning hatred for The English Patient. This was the movie which started the downhill crash of the Oscars. As boring as the desert it was filmed in. So, Brian Knight, or is it really you, Elaine Bennis?
The English Patient fucking rules. Let me just, it's one of my most eagerly awaited 4Ks. First of all, my love affair with Ralph Fiennes, or the imagined love affair I have with Ralph Fiennes, there are 2. I loved him in both English Patient and Strange Days. Yeah. And if you think that, first of all, how can you think The English Patient is, I would say The English Patient is literary. It's not boring. It also has an incredible score. Everything about that movie, I love it. Love, 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 love. And I knew it was going to win Best Picture. Knew it. Called it way in advance. Just saying.
Adventure Square.
Who's Elaine, by the way?
Elaine Bennis from Seinfeld, Rob. There is an episode of Seinfeld where her boss says, Elaine, have you seen The English Patient? Oh, and she goes, oh, that movie. And then her boss takes her out to see that movie, And she wants to see some trashy movie, I think Second Lunch or something like that. That's why I said, Brian, or is it you, Elaine Bennis? People who know Seinfeld know probably that episode. Adventure Square, between all the re-releases, between labels and cover art changes, I gotta check my collection before buying new samurai flicks. Yeah. Vex Wuther. Here's to 40 years more. I'm not doing 40 years more in my company. Hopefully not. That's Plato.
After 40 years, when do you get to retire? Do you get to retire?
Yeah, but probably, I have no idea, Rob.
Do you get like a pension or Social Security? How does that work in Germany? Yeah. So you must have earned a lot of Social Security. The thing is, now let me ask you the real question. If you retire and you just live on Social Security, will you have enough to buy physical media?
I hope so, Rob. I hope so. I get then my pension, Rob. I worked enough, That's the system in Germany. You work. The younger work for the older, So here's to 40 years more. I hope not. Das Plato. Peter looks like a race car driver. The ring my seat. HV Christodot. Loving Baby Assassins, #1 at this moment. And I heard we had a great time with the trilogy as a whole. Considering Red Sonja, Alvaro Sinos Amaro says, various folks on forums here suggested the budget for the new Red Sonja is about 15 to 17 million. Unofficial sources, because I told you.
That's Alvaro, who I'm doing the new show with, by the way.
Yep. I have not found anything about the budget, but that actually tracks, I have to say. Stubble McShave, I can't wait for when AI reviewers are reviewing AI movies in the future. I think we already have AI reviews, AI movies. Who knows? Will come at some point. Walter Whitewalker, is it really good? K-pop Demon Hunter? Is it too teeny? Bopper. It's great. K-pop Demon Hunters deserves all the accolades. I had a great time with that movie. Like Major Churcher says, give it some minutes, but then you're totally in. Unless you're, like the bad Canadian kid. Major Chai Chai, like he says here, it's a little like that, but 15 minutes in, I was into it. BDEP, dogs are just like kids, expensive, but worth every penny. Walter Whitewalker, not sure they're actually going to be able to pull off but the cast of the new Street Fighter movie looks pretty awesome. Well, the cast is there. Let's see what they're giving us in the end. And Rob, 14 days ago, you had that great list about the first movies we showed. And first, I think 5 shows it was. BCH, a lot of Resident Evil here. Yeah, because I brought out the Japanese one and other editions. The hidden VHS, yeah, because it's one of my last VHS that I own, because Claudia Christian
Yes,
autographed it. Here I'm missing the context, unfortunately. Okay, 40 days ago.
Story of my life.
No, wait, I didn't know there was a Secular Monk. I didn't know there was a first one, let alone a second. I don't remember the context. There was a sequel, but I don't remember the context. And Miele says, is Pedro Pascal in it? I wouldn't be surprised. Damn, I missed the context. I forgot to go over the live chat again. Double McShave. And he asks, damn, I'm missing the context here. If this will be a topic on the John Campea show, and I wanted to say no, definitely not. Some obscure movie, certainly. Oh, now now it comes back. Now it comes back, Rob. We were talking about African Kung Fu Nazis. Now it comes back. And H.V. Grisseldorf asks, are they good? You have to give it 2 ratings. On the
African Kung Fu Nazis is a singular case where it doesn't matter whether it's good or bad. What matters is that people made it, where they made it, how they made it,
exists
with the love and the verve that they made it with. And to look into Africa Kung Fu Nazis is to see an emerging group of filmmakers, and you got to give it up for them. And we on this show, if we have an official movie, I think it's our official movie. It's the official movie of this channel. The official, not of the channel, but of this show. If there's an official movie of Let's Get Physical Media, you have to have the German media book.
Yeah.
Did
it even get a release anywhere else, Rob?
No, it didn't. The only way you can get African Kung Fu Nazis on physical media is with the beautiful German media book from Germany. And the fact that they put it out, isn't it? It's kind of ironic that the only place you can get African Kung Fu Nazis in a beautiful release is from Germany.
And when Rob saw that release, he was, I'm fine bringing that douche on my show, because now all my purchases are legitimate.
I'm telling you, man. No, it was. I mean, that was our and didn't we hear from the filmmakers?
Yeah, correct, Rob. In the comments, I think in the comment section.
Yeah, somehow the filmmakers. So, are we into year 5 yet? Is this year 5 of the show?
Not almost, Rob. We are almost done with year 5 now. Come November.
Really? In November we're going into year 6?
Yeah, we started November 2020, Rob. November 2020.
Oh my God! We have to have.
If I remember it correctly, Rob.
Hopefully we'll have to have a half-decade party.
Yeah, and that when Secular Monk came into it, considering African Kung Fu, I didn't know there was a first one, let alone a second one, because I didn't know that either until Rob told me.
I told you I got to bring the news right here.
And then Miele asked, is Pedro Pascal in it? In you see, it was funny, Rob. It was funny. But I did miss the context now with Stubble. And then came Stubble. I wonder if this will be a topic on the John Campea show. No, African Kung Fu Nazis.
You know, if I was rich, like if I had real fuck you money, if I was ever remotely successful in my career as a filmmaker, I would pay the money. And I would bring the filmmakers from Africa who made African Kung Fu Nazis, and we would make the 3rd movie in the trilogy. The African Kung Fu Nazis go to America, and we would make we have how they have to come protect America from. I'm just saying right now, it's too bad I never became totally financially successful like my friends, because we would do things like that on this show. We would
we help out our independent filmmakers,
and we could do a special, because one of my dreams on this show, like doing a book, I want to find a movie that we could release as our first official home video release. Like we would make our own. We'd find a movie and we would release it on physical media. I would love to do that with Free Enterprise, but I'd want to go to obviously a bigger. We'd have to find some smaller movie to do it. But it would be pretty fun to put out our own. Like I tried. To be fair, when I was working on Chronicles of Narnia, I was staying there. It used to be called the Duxton, but there was a hotel in Wellington, New Zealand. It was called the Duxton. I love the hotel. It overlooked the bay, but it was literally right across the street from the building where like the New Zealand Film Commission was in.
Okay.
And when I was there, I used to go knock on the door. When I was working on Narnia, I wanted to get the rights to Jeff Murphy's the New Zealand movie The Quiet Earth, because it had come out on Laserdisc, but it really hadn't come out.
Yeah.
And I used to go. I probably went 6 times. And I went and knocked on the door because we were working, and I went across the street and knocked on the door. Nobody was ever at the office. Like the New Zealand Film Commission was empty. Like nobody was there. Like nobody actually worked at the New Zealand Film Commission. I don't know. Whenever I went there was nobody there.
Take it over.
Yeah, and I would, because I wanted to get the rights to The Quiet Earth and release it to start my own like indie video label, like Oscilloscope or something. And at the time, I was paid enough money. I had enough money. My company had enough money that I could have bought the rights or at least licensed the film to release in America. But I could never get anybody on the phone or to call me back or anything. So. But The Quiet Earth luckily came out and people brought it to us. So you can get The Quiet Earth. But I wanted to do that, and I wanted to get Utu. I wanted to get Utu and The Quiet Earth, which is Jeff Murphy's 2 movies.
Yeah.
But yeah. So, hey, New Zealand Film Commission, maybe it's easier to get in touch with you today than it was 21 years ago.
Rob, BCH helped us out in the live chat. The first Let's Get Physical Media premiered on November 14, 2020.
Wow, I got to put up a show then. Well, then let's see. Okay, November. Hang on. Since we know this, let's go to November 20. November 2025. November 14th. That was a Sunday, right?
Yeah. Good. I don't know, Rob. It was a recorded show. I don't know when you put it up.
But if I put up November, okay. So November 14th is a Friday. So November 16th will be our.
It will be deciding if the Burnettwork will cancel the show or if we go into season 6.
it'll be our half block. But it'll be our half decade show. Yeah. We'll celebrate. I'm going to put that up. I'm going to put that live show up. Come celebrate the beginning of our second.
The Burnettwork is undecided yet.
Our half decade anniversary. Okay. That's good. Should I let you go back to doing what you're doing? I'm going to go put up that right now.
Just the last ones. The final metamorphosis says Nigeria is the indie film scene. Nice. Uncle Jimmy, I love you, Rob and Dieter. I was watching the show, left, saw a movie, come home, and you're still on. Amazing. Love it. That was the live chat, Rob.
Well, okay. I'm gonna. I got a few more.
That I remember the context that it was African Kung Fu Nazis, because I had to laugh. Miele is Pedro Pascal in it.
Let me read. I've got a few. Super chats to read and things that are actually pretty funny. Major Cha-Cha. I hope no. Oh. Yeah. Walter Whitewalker said, I actually sent a letter in about Apollo 13. I was going to read that on Robservations probably tonight, but since he brought it up and he's here, I'll read that here. DL says, if someone buys Warner Brothers can they release Batgirl? P.S. I don't know if there's a specific way to send you an email. If so, I haven't done it right. Laugh out loud. Is that Darth Plato?
Actually, Rob, would there be a chance if somebody else buys a studio and projects that weren't released are somewhere in the drawer?
Theoretically, I mean, you could do that.
Okay.
You could do that. I'm sure you could if you wanted to. Darth Plato says, could you repeat that, Dieter? By the way, if you want to send me a letter, you can just, send some of the email address. It's RM Burnett, so it's RMBURNETT 1701 @gmail.com. Although I'm going to make a specific Let's Get Physical Media email. Darth Plato says, could you repeat that, Dieter? Well, now you have. And Castle Grayskull says, can we do a GoFundMe for Dave Parker? I guess we could. Although I'd have to hear from Dave. I haven't heard from Dave. I've been trying to call him. But Dave is sad, Dave. We're going to make Dave happy, Dave. But anyway, so...
Secular Monk Rob in the live chat. It is one of the Burnett axioms. Thou shall no cancel Let's Get Physical Media.
Well, okay, so Bill Hauser, I'm going to read Bill's email on the show. So here we go. This comes from Bill Hauser or Walter White Walker. Hey, Rob, I didn't even realize this was getting an IMAX re-release for its 30th anniversary, but I was pretty stoked when I was scrolling through my AMC app and I noticed it, though it was a little disheartening to see that mine was the only seat taken at the time I reserved it. It was such a treat to see this in IMAX, as back in the day, IMAX screens were few and far between. I mentioned this before, but being legally blind, I have to see all movies on a larger format screen. And as far as I'm concerned, everybody should see any movie space-related on an IMAX screen. I agree with you. Nothing beats it. The reason I'm writing to you isn't just to say how great the movie is, but it's actually to tell you about a feeling of heartwarming hope I had while watching it. With U.S. events and the reactions to these events over the past couple of weeks or decade being so depressingly awful, it was just trying to get away and find a little solace and comfort in watching a great movie. When I walked in the theater, I did notice a few other people kind of scattered around. Not many, but better than I thought it would be. But I can't really see faces or any other identifying features, so I figured just a few Gen Xers and Boomers were in there with me to watch a decades-old movie about an event that happened even more decades earlier. Actually, what made me think of you and kind of chuckle was the fact that the people back in my day were losing interest in moon landings, and many networks initially dropped the coverage of Apollo 13, and it made me think of people losing interest in dinosaurs and Jurassic World Rebirth. And for a minute, I was like, maybe some people would lose interest in dinosaurs. But anyway, a couple of rows behind me, I kept hearing some talking. Wasn't too distracting at first, but as the talking continued during the more quiet moments in the movie, I noticed it was a little girl talking to presumably her dad. The girl, I'm guessing maybe 7 or 8, had questions, and her dad was doing his best to answer them. I tell you what, I normally can't stand nonstop chatter while watching a movie, but hearing this kid ask so many questions and just being so interested in space and space travel, especially while watching an old movie about the old times, really warmed my heart and put a smile on my face. I was almost more interested in her questions than I was in the movie. Maybe there's hope for today's youth yet, Rob. Maybe, if he hasn't already, that man will take his daughter down to Kennedy Space Center in Florida. That place is amazing and purely awe-inspiring. I'm surprised it hasn't been renamed to the Trump Space Center. Going as a kid, it really... He didn't say that, by the way. That was me editorializing. So don't get on Walter White Walker. It really sparked my... Going as a kid, it really sparked my interest in space, and it never got old. It was just as amazing when I went a couple of years ago, if not more so. Maybe one day, that little girl will grow up and fly her own missions to the moon, Mars, or beyond. I don't know, maybe that's a stretch, but it does give me hope for humanity yet. Anyway, I'm going to get back to my normal daily routine of waiting even more impatiently now for All Mankind, Season 5. Take care, Bill Hauser, Walter White Walker. Is it Hauser? See, I never know. It's Hauser? Is it Hauser? What a great letter, Walter. And you know what?
Yeah.
I don't care. I'm going to read that letter on my next episode of Robservations, because that's a great letter. Secular Monk says, by the way, sends in a super chat and says, I thought the official movie of the show was To Live and Die in L.A. No, that's my official movie. So
correct.
It doesn't. That's not for both of us. African Kung Fu Nazis is something that Dieter turned me on to. It's truly something I wouldn't know of if I didn't do the show with Dieter.
That's what we're trying here to do, Rob. Throwing the balls back and forth about stuff that are cat in the bags.
I know.
For one of the two of us.
Supergirl Maid says, if LG gives up, there will be no more new drives. Do you mean hard drives? I don't know what that means.
Blu-ray drives? Blu-ray drives.
Blu-ray drives. Yeah. That's probably what you mean. That would be bad. But you're right.
LG is the
they do the TVs, but they do a lot of other things too. Okay. I hope not. That would be bad. Okay, I think we're caught up there. Now we come to it at last. Thomas Logan's letter. Now it's going to be tough for me to do the pictures at the same time I read this letter, but I will try because he sent 10 photos in. So anyway, I'm going to let Thomas Logan take us away like Calgon. The Magic of Studio Love by Thomas Logan. Tomorrow, Monday, September 22nd, 2025, the 30th anniversary of Seven, by the way, I will be sitting in an IMAX theater watching the latest Safdie movie, The Smashing Machine. Unlike all the previous Safdie films, this one was helmed solely by Benny Safdie. But despite Josh Safdie's absence and The Smashing Machine not being a Safdie Bros feature, it is still very much an A24 film. Bobby, meaning me, often muses on why people care so much about A24 and sometimes comes close to nailing the reason behind it. The truth about A24's vast appeal predates its own inception in 2012 by decades. I first encountered the phenomenon when I was a teenager. Bobby Womack. My introduction to Quentin Tarantino came via a VHS watch of Reservoir Dogs. Unfortunately, I wasn't old enough to appreciate it the way I would have a few years later. Fast forward to October 20th, 1995, and watching Pulp Fiction on its pay-per-view debut with my two favorite cousins, unbeknownst to my aunt, who later grounded my cousin Sebastian for weeks when she found out. My brain and intellect had clearly changed vastly in that 3-year period because I absolutely loved Quentin Tarantino's second feature. My cousins only saw it as a Bruce Willis vehicle and felt bored whenever he was off the screen. I saw sheer brilliance. I saw a filmmaker making a declaration to the world saying, "I have arrived." I became a Quentin Tarantino disciple as the credits rolled and the surfer music continued to enthrall me. One thing for certain, then, there was no way in hell I would experience Quentin Tarantino's next cinematic offering on VHS or pay-per-view again. I wanted to see whatever he put out next the way it was supposed to be seen, in a theater. Jackie Brown opening day at my local Cineplex on Christmas Day 1997. I bought soda, popcorn, and arrived extra early to get a good spot at my screening. I was ready to bask in Tarantino's latest. And then something happened. Something I didn't expect. Something that would add an entirely new layer to my experience as a cinephile. The first few seconds of Bobby Womack's Across 110th Street began to play over a black screen, and then the gorgeous and stylized Miramax logo exploded onto the big screen. There you go. Oh, he's got screen directions. Show the Miramax logo attached, Bobby.
Yeah.
Seeing a studio logo had never been a big deal for me until this moment. I found myself deeply invested all of a sudden in this movie, and it hadn't even started. Seeing that logo brought on feelings of anticipation and excitement that I could never have expected to have. I went there for Quentin Tarantino, but Miramax left its mark on me. Going forward, I really began to appreciate those instances when seeing a studio logo made a film instantly more exciting to me. Or enticing to me, I'm sorry. If it was a studio I wasn't familiar with and the film impressed me, I would thus be on the lookout for more films by that studio. For instance, I remember the first time I saw the Artisan Entertainment logo in a movie theater. Well, he doesn't say to show it right now, but since he sent it to me, here it is. I saw the Artisan Entertainment logo in a movie theater. I was watching a 10th year anniversary re-release of Reservoir Dogs that was timed with the much-awaited Quentin Tarantino DVD release, in which they released 5 different color covers. Naturally, I chose Quentin Tarantino's Mr. Shit cover. Now, Bobby, show the various covers. Okay, Thomas, here they are. There's Mr. Orange. There's Mr. White. Here's Mr. Pink. Mr. Yellow, and Mr. Brown, or Mr. Shit. And here's the... Oh, look, it's signed. Am I not supposed to say that? Does that come later? Live entertainment was gone and Artisan had taken its place. Lionsgate Films today. That Artisan logo was much smaller than the Miramax logo, understated, yet powerful. Despite being a huge fan of the Blair Witch Project, for some reason the Artisan logo just hadn't hit me the way it did at that Reservoir Dogs screening. So it too was added to my list of logos to look out for. I was delighted to see it again with my opening screening of James Wan's Saw a few years later, as well as with John Hensley's The Punisher that came that same year. Megan Ellison. As the years went by, one thing I began to notice was that very few studios were making a mark for themselves outside of the Big Five: Disney, Paramount, 20th Century Fox, Universal, and Warner Brothers. Artisan exploded with The Hunger Games, Focus Features made a name for themselves with great indie fare, and Miramax became the Weinstein Company. But one logo in particular really caught my eye in the 2010s, so much so that it took me back to that first cinematic encounter with Miramax during Jackie Brown over a decade earlier. Now, Bobby, show the Annapurna logo. Okay, Thomas, I will. I first encountered them with Paul Thomas Anderson's The Master in November of 2012. I was absurdly excited to see PTA's follow-up to the masterpiece that was There Will Be Blood, and he didn't disappoint. Annapurna thus became a studio to look out for. Lawless, Killing Them Softly, Zero Dark 30, Her, American Hustle, Foxcatcher, and Joy. Megan Ellison's auteur-driven Annapurna really made a big splash in the industry. One of those films, Spring Breakers, was a co-production between Annapurna and another up-and-coming indie studio named, now Bobby, show the A24 logo. Okay, Thomas, I will.
No, Bobby, now.
John Amos. So we arrive at A24, the current champion of auteur-driven cinema. Bobby calls them pretentious, and that's a compliment. A24 not only understood the value of investing in talented newcomers like Robert Eggers, Ari Aster, and the Safdie brothers, they absolutely positively nailed the magic that is the studio brand recognition. Let's not forget, they killed Brian Fuller's version of Crystal Lake, which was a big mistake. That A24 logo is like a drug. Just seeing it in a trailer is like taking a hit of some quality indica. You can almost hear the soundtrack that will accompany the film you're about to watch as the logo lingers in the theater screen in front of you. You feel a rush. You feel like you're heading into something truly immersive. A24 not only found its audience, but found a way to make sure said audience understood that the A24 brand is as much a star of the films themselves as the actual stars. And that is as important as the auteurs behind them. I would disagree with that statement. The filmmakers are still more important. Here are some of the A24 movies that have been released: The Bling Ring, Enemy, Under the Skin, Ex Machina, Room, The Witch, Green Room, The Lobster, Moonlight, The Florida Project, The Killing of a Sacred Deer, Lady Bird, The Disaster Artist, Good Time, Hereditary, Under the Silver Lake. I own most of these. Midsommar, The Lighthouse, Uncut Gems, Lamb, The Whale, Everything Everywhere All at Once, Beau is Afraid, Talk to Me, The Zone of Interest, The Iron Claw, Civil War, The Brutalist, Warfare, Eddington, Bring Her Back, The Smashing Machine, and Marty Supreme. The Smashing Machine was directed by one Safdie brother, and Marty Supreme was directed by the other. A24 fandom is real. We follow their movies the way sports fans follow their respective teams. We won't miss a movie that logo's attached to. That's the magic of studio love. That A24 logo is the door to an experience. A24 films are a vibe, a feeling. Studios like Neon and Mubi are trying to capture that magic and hopefully will. Well, Neon, 5 films that won the Palme d'Or. A24 can't say that. I'm sure Bobby has a studio that makes him feel that way, where as soon as the logo hits, he feels inspired and excited. I'm sure Dieter has one too. For now, A24 is the champion of studio-based fandom. My opening day IMAX screening for Alex Garland's Warfare this past April was sold out. My opening day screening for Ari Aster's Eddington this past July was sold out. Every single screening of The Smashing Machine tomorrow is sold out across the country. I asked a fellow A24 lover yesterday, do you think The Rock did that, Benny Safdie, or was it just A24? And what do you think he said? Much love, Robbie and Dieter. Regards, Thomas Logan. That was a great letter, actually.
Okay.
Thank you for that, Thomas. That was a really good letter. Look, I understand. And also, A24, I'm a member, and A24 is the only studio that sent me a birthday reminder that I could go to their store and pick something out for free. Twice.
And puts out the trilogy completely.
And look, their commitment to their physical media releases is incredible. I mean, they've done a wonderful job with their physical media releases, and I like the fact that they've really cultivated. Look, don't get me wrong; it's still the studio and still the filmmakers and the movies themselves that built A24, but they do have pretty good taste, and it is a vibe. And I have enjoyed most of their movies, and I own most of them too. And I think A24. I saw Spring Breakers with my friend Dave Hargrove at the Cinerama Dome opening night, and we had a blast. I loved Spring Breakers. So, yeah, I mean, I think what Thomas was saying. But in terms of studios, you know, when I was a kid, I loved the major studios because Universal, obviously, the space freak that I was, Universal. I loved 20th Century Fox because of Star Wars and Alien. But as far as when I was a kid, a logo that I really loved was Avco Embassy. Because, like Thomas Logan described, when I went and saw Phantasm or Carpenter movies, you know, The Fog and Escape from New York, these were Avco Embassy movies, and I loved Avco Embassy, but it unfortunately didn't last very long. Yeah. So, do you have a favorite logo?
Actually, I'm not tied to a studio specifically, but I'm really happy, Rob, that A24 could get the rights for NASA 2, you know. I will be really looking forward for the physical release of NASA 2, because it was one of my favorites this year.
No, I agree. And I think what's really cool about A24 is that they are, like you said, they have a certain, or like Thomas said, they have a certain vibe. And you kind of know what you're going to get when you see an A24 movie. I just hope that they kind of stay in that lane. You know, I know, look, the problem is every studio that makes their bones with independent filmmakers wants to have that $500 million hit, and maybe one day A24 will have one. But, you know, when they won the Oscar for Everything Everywhere All at Once, that was a big deal for them. So kudos to A24, and again, I think they have cultivated their cult of studio personality, and they've done a really good job of it. So we shall see. I just think that A24... I don't know if A24 should remain a distribution entity, or because making something and being able to weigh in on what a filmmaker is doing. It's one thing to finance and distribute a movie, but when you start taking creative notes from A24, what is that going to do to their output? And I know that in the case of making their Crystal Lake TV show, there's a little bit of studio interference, let's call it, in making Crystal Lake, and I don't think we're getting the best version of Crystal Lake, but I could be wrong. You never know. Hope springs eternal.
But Crystal Lake, the show is coming out on Peacock.
Yes, but A24 is one of the people that are making it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Now, let's see. There's a bunch of
Super
A
chats
bunch
that came in.
of chats just came in. Miele says Sony releasing a 130-inch single panel RGB LED TV in 2027. I still like OLED better. I mean, I'd have to look. We'll see. I'd love 130 inch, but when you get to 130 inches, I have to say I'd really like to look at the difference between a projector and a TV. But we'll see. Blackadder Not I sends in a super chat and says, I watched Sunset Boulevard again tonight. Nothing more to say. Just a great piece of cinema. Miele goes on to say the next PlayStation will still have a disc drive. Well, that's good to know.
Oh, that's good to know.
Blackadder Not I says, do you know about the appearances of Satan in Longlegs? I watched it again last night, and I spotted him about 5 or 6 times. I did watch a YouTube video about that, and there was some article, some text article I read somewhere about that. But I still don't think it helped the movie. I wanted Longlegs to... I was really excited about it, and I thought it was kind of too far up its own ass. But you know what? Hey, I was glad it was successful. Blackadder Not I goes on to say, I quite like Jackie Brown, but after recently reading Rum Punch by Elmore Leonard, the last time I watched it was the time I enjoyed it the least. Yeah, because it's is it the best Elmore Leonard adaptation, or is it a Quentin Tarantino movie? I can totally understand that. Blackadder says, Blackadder and I said... Blackadder Not I keep saying Blackadder and I. It's Blackadder Not I says, all the best things are pink inside, and I'm not just talking about a well-cooked steak. Well, Blackadder Not I and I clearly park our shuttlecrafts in the same shuttle bay.
Shuttle bay.
And it might not just be steak, but it's definitely things you want to get in your mouth.
Okay.
On that note... we have reached the end of this. What was this, 4-hour show almost?
Almost.
What time is it for you over there?
30-minute delay. So it's way past midnight here.
Wow.
So on my end, just a quick last recommendation for me, Rob, which I've seen digitally, a movie, because I never thought that I would say a movie combines drama, polit thriller, and martial arts together, but they done it, Rob. The movie is called Tatami, and one of the 2 actresses, Sa Amir, Rob, from Holy Spider.
Oh, really? Is that an Iranian film?
Because, Rob, it is about a female judoka who goes through a championship, and Sa Amir, our leading lady from Holy Spider, plays her female trainer, and then gets a call from above, the man above. She should fake an injury and get out of the contest, because it could be possible she will face an Israeli. So there's some shenanigans then at foot here. So really nice recommendation, Rob. It says here, quotes, dazzling, unmissable, a masterpiece, a gripping watch to set to make history, a powerful, empowering, and incredible poignant story, a win both behind and in front of the camera. I don't know. It is on Amazon Prime here. I don't know about the States, Rob. Just a recommendation from me, because I thought this movie was great. But just a caveat, Rob, for some people, it is in black and white and 4:3 as. And it is in English and in the other language, So it's in 2 languages. But really, really dug the movie, Rob. And it is out in France as a Blu-ray, but unfortunately, no English subtitles.
Okay, you want to hear something cool about this movie? It has two directors.
Okay.
Guy Nativ, who's Israeli, and Zar Amir Ibrahimi, who's Persian.
Yeah, and she's the actress, Rob. She's the actress,
The actress is Adrienne Mandy Abrimi or
That is
whatever.
the female lead who plays the judo cop, but Sa Amir
That's played by Zara Amir
the
Abrahim. I bet that's the. Oh, the girl. Yeah, you're right. You're right. The woman. Okay, the woman who. Yeah, she's.
Yeah.
She's co-directing the movie and stars in it. That's right.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Our lead from Holy Spider. Just the last recommendation.
Wow.
Totally love.
This sounds great.
Movie.
Okay, here you go. This is really interesting. With Guy Nativ and Zar Amir Abrahimi as co-directors, this project marks the first feature to be co-directed by an Iranian and an Israeli filmmaker. Tatami is produced for Cachette Studios by Adi Erzoni and Mandy Tagger Brocky, alongside Guy Nativ and Jaime Ray Newman from New Native Pictures. That's really interesting. So I didn't realize that. How interesting that you have an Israeli and a Persian co-directing a movie. Yeah, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
That's the way the world should be, you see.
Yeah. Last recommendation on my end. And other than that, jede Person, die du triffst, hat eine Geschichte zu erzählen, die du noch zu hören hast. Wait, I made it wrong. Jede Person, die du triffst, hat eine Geschichte zu erzählen, die du noch zu hören hast. Alles, was du tun musst, ist zuhören. Now I got it.
Every person you meet has a story to tell that you have yet to hear, and all you have to do is listen. And with that, I say to all of you, have a better day. I want to thank my moderating staff. I want to thank Tom Jr. Jackson for calling me, for telling me that I bumped the sound so you couldn't hear Dieter anymore. Thank you for that. You know, if there's not some sound kerfluffle during the show.
Let's get media,
it's not Let's Get Physical Media. So sorry about that, though, but I'm glad we were able to take care of that problem before it got too terrible. I want to thank everybody for generously supporting this channel via super chats and tips. This coming week, I'm going to try and do as many shows in the next 3 days as I can. There is a new episode of Icons of Fright, the audio podcast in support of the release of the book, and I recommend everybody go pick up Icons of Fright at Amazon now. I won't be around on Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday because I'm going to Atlanta to testify in court. I'm going to be cross-examined, but I'm a witness, so that's going to be fun. It has to do with the Axanar case. Who would have thought that after 11 years, Axanar would still be chugging along and yet remain unfinished? Unbelievable.
And perhaps you remember, Rob, the only time you were at the witness were here on Let's Get Physical Media about theatrical versions or direct cut, which is the better one. You were on the witness stand.
I was on the witness. You're right. I was on the witness stand, and I will probably. I'm going to try and finish the Roy Lee interview so you can see the whole thing, and I'll have it drop as a pre-recorded Robservations episode. While I'm gone, it'll probably drop Wednesday night, so it will not be a live episode. So there you go. But yeah, that's everything. That's all the news that's fit to print.
Yeah.
But I want
to forget to tell the bad Canadian kid, free last movies. That's why.
Yes, that's why. Well, that's good to know. Success. Now I can say that tomorrow. I don't know how we're doing tomorrow's show. I don't know if we're going into the studio or we're doing it remotely because John he's in Portland tonight. Yeah. And they're seeing, I think they're seeing, I don't know if it's him tonight or something else. And then he's going up to Seattle. Actually, he'll be in Kent. And he's having a meetup in Portland. And then it'll take him 2 days to drive back from Seattle in that van. I mean, it's an 18-hour drive nonstop with a car. So we'll see. I don't know how that's all going to work. I'm sure I will find out. So we shall see. But yeah. So, it's funny. I was going to say if there's anybody who's interested in meeting up, maybe I could do a meetup, an Imagination Connoisseurs meetup in Atlanta, either Wednesday night, Thursday night, or Friday night. And if that's a possibility, I know Brian Erdy lives out there. Maybe we might do that. I'll see if I can throw something together. So we shall see.
Okay.
All right. And on that note, I can now say we're out of here. We are done. We're going away.
See you next week. Friends.
See you next
Family
week.
and friends.
And we're out.